What is up, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Impromptu W episode 3. But the topics have yet to come because we are heading over to the Politics and Religion Discord server to see if we can have some counter-apologetic fun, along with any other subject that comes up. Theology, science. How long is the girl deck? So won't you join us for an impromptu good time? And Cooper says hi too. Woo! What is up, everyone out there on the interwebs? Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, as well as share if you're, in a debate with someone, probably more specifically. I want to say family and friends, but we know who you're getting in arguments with the Shroud of Turin with. Probably not grandma. Anyway, sending love to everyone out there. We see, that's right. Almost at 100 followers. My watch was congratulating me too. That we are going to hit the 100 mark on Twitchosphere. Sending so much love out there. I gotta get like flair for the 100 mark celebration. Celebrate good times. I kind of always need flair. What is up, Captive Desk? What is up, I Draw Stuff? Ham and cheese. I will say, if you were reading chat earlier, it was pepperoni pizza with garlic crust, but ham and cheese, also a good selection. It's a Rubiks. What is up? Boom, 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 boom. Sending so much love to the dual channels out there on YouTube and Twitch. The Disciple Day. What is up? The topic, well, if you're reading this after it was live, it's probably in the title, and, I have all the fancy SEO and all of that stuff inspired by Gizmo. However, we're about to go learn what that topic is as we go into the Politics and Religion Discord. What is up, Stephanie? Saying hello, hello. Who's debating who? Oh, see, now it happened twice. Facebook is telling me, did you know that the episode is going live right now? I'm like, thank you, Watch. That's so amazing. I have to breathe? Holy moly, this is revolutionary. And there we go. So saying love, Mr. Impromptu. What is up, Matasaro? What is up, everyone? Secular, pagan mom, pineapple, pepperoni. Is a bomb. Is bomb. The bomb. I like bacon pizza, probably because I've just had so many years of pretending religiously that I'm not supposed to eat it, that now I'm kind of like all pro bacon, although I like piggies too. What's up, Farron Salas? Woohoo! In a second, why, hello, air. We're going to be going into there. I'll do my quicko shout-out version because, yes, liking and following and subscribing and sharing, but also we have many ways you can support us. While I'll try and show all of your comments on screen, especially if they have me tagged. However, if you really want to guarantee in the heat of the moment and catch our attention and support the channel, send in super chats and we will try to go extra to dedicate and to show props that may be a little bit bigger than though I've heard anything's a dildo if you're brave enough. I've been told. Some people are telling me. Yes, including we now have shadow membership with our evolving badge system right down below. Kind of triggers creationists. They call us evolutionists, but the word I heard a lot of words last night. Rationalists, people who accept reality. I just prefer biologists and then people who accept biology. Oh, silly creationists, young earth, especially variety. You'll get it soon. You'll have a theory. Don't worry. Any day now. Anyway, as well as all of our Patreons, one of the best ways to help us getting the support right to us and then getting extra perks so that we can support you at patreon.com/ABNewman, including all of the people on the girl deck. If you are on at least 2 of the 3 of a Twitch subscriber, a channel member on YouTube, or a Patreon, you are a member of the exclusive girl deck and you become lieutenant. We also, we're tripling anything we paid you. And so, sending so much love to everyone out there, including You're going to have to hear the gears working. The gears, they found themselves. Good. Senator Cato! As we remind ourselves, the separation of church and state, kind of really important. Kind of more important than any of the things that we're, debating over bread and butter, as long as you're not putting a gun to someone's head and forcing them to be religious, non-religious, or otherwise. Sending love to the amazing, fabulous, and wonderful Rachel Holen, reminding us, the good slavery only comes with pink fuzzy cuffs and a ball gag. If you take non-consenting people from the nations around you and there are burning cities behind you, you may not be the good guys. Just saying. Just putting that out there. Sending so much love. Senator Care, Rachel Holen, and sending so much love to Chris Disciple. We saw Chris Disciple out there. Woo! Because we have many skeptical theists and Christians. We have skeptic Muslims out there. We have it. I consider myself being skeptical towards my religious beliefs. I like to think that they are too. And so we're really just here trying to get to a skeptic and ranting community. Sending love, Chris Disciple. Sending love. James Wolfe, as we howl at the moon. James sends so much love as he does, just like Pat Lowinger. They do that little thing where they go out into the field and collect evidence. Instead of just complaining about it on the internet, which is, my job, our job. Sending so much love to James Wolfe. No, they'll have theories one day in a dream, but it's just a theory. And yet you can't make it's just a theory, because a theory is a testable, provable. You take that hypothesis and you make it falsifiable. It's a spooky concept, I know. Sending love also to Dale Pastel. Speaking of, we're just looking for a little bit of empirical evidence, because just little doesn't have to be a lot. Oftentimes when they ask us for a little bit of empirical evidence, they say we are cheating. Why even converse with you if the standard of evidence you're looking is in the real world? I mean, our God can just do everything. But yes, no. Fitting in a test tube is difficult. Or I always say lift the soda can if I often have something in front of me. Just, it's right there. I got an Arizona can tonight. It's right there. Make it lift. I'm not saying it's complete 100% evidence, but I'll tell you, it would be a data point. That's kind of what you need. Instead of I prayed and then within a week, Jesus showed me his light on toast. It was communicating through me directly. Yes, exactly. But if you could do that in what we would call real time, it's right there. I apparently have more power right now. People without legs could do the task that I have right now. So I feel all powerful might be the Wish version of that. Anyway, sending love to the three almighty of the girl deck captains in their own right. We are sending love to Regos, who reminds us we have a skeptic Bible study. Here is our God that we have in our skeptic Bible study. I also just realized that was because I was telling someone to like, oftentimes, and I. If it's just James and I normally doing Bible studies and we're just two schmucks, I can't imagine how many other atheists, but we're coming up on our 80th Bible study. That is pretty cray-cray to me that we have gone in and said, gather around, folks. People really do think this is true. But it's been a fun time. We've got the in-depth stories. Got to see the Moses story. They always like to say that, like, they hardened also, the Pharaoh's heart. Like, he said no. I'm pretty sure it was 5 times, and it was, like, almost... It might have been like a... And then basically it was, your heart is frozen. 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 Passed the rule of 3. Really, he went in there 5 times. Just to make sure. Good guy. Good guy. That's okay. It's not like we're just drowning children. Boop, boo, doo, boo, doo. Firstborn sons are dead. Good guys. Good guys. Okay. Sending love to Regos. Sending love to Matt Deig. Who doesn't love have working testable theories? Once again, a triggering word for them. It's just a theory. No, you being able to jump over the fence and then you hitting yourself in the crotch, that was a hypothesis. It became a workable, testable theory that you proved that you could not do once you actually tested it. Please go test it. Get that data point. Sending love to Matt Deig. And last, but certainly not least, we are sending love. Sends all us love. We're sending love to you, Davenport. Boom, 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 boom. Watchmaker arguments are kind of silly because we mate. I sometimes want to, I always make the joke like the birds and the bees argument, but I don't even want to confuse young Earth creationists any further. And they're like just sitting there, like with a beehive and a fucking raven, and they're just like, why won't you make babies? So please, it's 2 people having sex of the same species. Just clarifying. Da 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 da. This is the PSA. I feel like we're an educational channel. All right. So sending love to everyone out there. All of the amazing on this episode of How by Balls. I know, basically. Oh my. It was a good documentary. It really is. That Idiocracy. We're about to go in. I'm setting up. I have to turn a setting on the YouTube, so forgive me while I do that. Like, follow, subscribe. I'm only saying that because I'm wasting time. Ha 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 ha. Okay, there it is. And with that, let's have some fun in the sun. I said that I was going to at least get that channel up because no one's joining the StreamYard. I do not have to be alonesies if you would like to join the politics and religion Discord server and join in on the fun. Then the link is now going to be pinned. I'm going to pin it both in YouTube and I can pin this on Twitch. And yes, Rubiks, absolutely. I see this now. Also, just one more. So basically, as long as it's one of the 3, if you are, I think it's called. Oh, and wow, that requester. Just dealing with ads and fun. What is it called on Twitch? Let's look. Subs? Yes, it's people who get on their knees. Wait, Wait, I'm being told that's something different. Equally as good, though. Yes, if you are 2 out of the 3, you're on the girl deck. If you are a sub, all right, then I will thank you, Rubiks. And that just reminds me that I should be going over and cross-referencing, because I cross-reference for Patreon and YouTube. I should be cross-referencing Patreon, YouTube, and Twitch. I'll get you on there. Welcome on board. But also, if you would like to join the Politics and Religion server, head down there. And, oh, what is up? Just sending love. Absolutely, empathy and respect. So I will keep on saying love to everybody as they come in. I was sending love, empathy. We will be eventually uploading the interview that I thought was fantastic. Dare I say amazing. Though the person who may be, every time I say that, I just, oh, they're like the, not anyone here, but the people that we may go into P&R, we'll see. I can't imagine they would want to talk about anything specifically than theology or science or philosophy. So let's go find out. If you're a Dom with 2 subs, can you make a sub sandwich? Yes, absolutely. It's also, I don't know if you know this, it's a foot long. La da 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 da. Sending love to everybody. Pat, what is up? Woohoo! Slavery, schmavery. Have you taken a look at the trees? It's true. I mean, you have all of these slaves to your left and slaves to your right, but it's such like a beautiful sight in front of you. And so really they're just ruining it for you and me. I don't have any will. Religion. Do. Oh, absolutely. Sending love, Rubiks. And Rubiks has been on the show, and we need to do many more fantastic episodes themed. Well, I think this is, we'll see if this becomes, I was going to say LGBTQ themed, but my joke is when you go into religious and fundies, it always is, unfortunately, because they're like, hey, you want to have a culture war? We're like, yeah, not really, but sure. You religious bayholes, let's have some fun. Okay, that's what the flyer said. What's up, Big Scream Bird? I think this is as much pigeon cushing, I don't even think that's a word, as much milking as I could of our housekeeping from Sam Harris. Let's go in to begin. Do. Finding. Oh, there's actually there's some, and there's I already see people in there, which means you beat me to it. Let's go in to begin.
I love beating Amy to it.
I was gonna say, if I'd only heard half of that sentence, it would have still been good, as long as you met with once again a crop and pink fuzzy cuffs.
I forgot the fuzzy cuffs.
Yeah.
Did it go get him?
Got an extra pair for you.
And so we'll see if anyone comes in also to entice
If you can
us.
lure in.
Yes, though I still think people will join on their own accord, but I will also just be like, hey, y'all.
Let's see. We got Penis Mars is up in one chat. Will Stewart.
Yeah, I just ran from a debate. Someone wanted to debate me whether or not dictionaries have the correct definitions all the time, which we know they don't. But apparently people think they do.
I mean,
I'm stupid.
Hey. I just got done watching a Ken Hoven debate. He debated Luca tonight again.
No one should debate Hoven. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. it's at least amusing if you control him. But yeah,
I mean, it's okay to have fun with him, but at some point you just have to stop giving him fuel. I've noticed that his debate calendar is really empty at the moment.
yeah, he was doing quite a lot of them for a while there. He's not doing quite as many.
More and more people think like I do. I mean, if you want to debate him on whether or not you should have pedophiles on a theme park aimed at children. That should be the only topic people should be debating him on.
And for the record, TOS, we are against that. I think they should all go to prison.
Yes, definitely. We are against that.
And, definitely.
We'll probably see, in fact, a new inmate, maybe even protection, or from protecting someone like that. We call them, I think, inmate K is 0764321.
Yeah, let's hope this new investigation actually is going to happen.
Yeah, I think if you go back into the Bureau of Prisons and you're already there, you keep your same number. So he would be I think he would be the same inmate number as last time. But those poor correctional staff, I mean, they've been celebrating since he left prison, having to deal with him.
I mean, it would be the creationist thing to do to give him the same inmate number, because obviously he wouldn't accept change over time.
We should change it to 666.
Hail Satin, 50% softer. As well as touching our noodly appendage.
Get him a room with Chris Jones.
So, Amy, who are you debating?
Well, the impromptu debate you is for, I would say, anyone.
Whatever comes on.
Exactly. Mostly people who would disagree with us, though. But,
she's hoping to lure one of them in.
Exactly. Like I told James that, like, in the past 2 episodes, it's been, like, each time a different person comes in, and they'll be like, "You'll never be a woman." And I'm like, "That's fine. Evil never exists. Your God will never be real." And then they have to defend their theology, and they always end up running away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting.
Well, let's just hope it's not going to be a dumpster fire like the last one. That
well,
cringe.
We can't guarantee that. She's got to deal with the quality of opponents that come to her,
Well, okay, but so is there going to be a mod in here?
I think
they're not really formal debates.
I used to be a counter apologetics RO. I should probably ask for that, though sometimes asking for that.
You don't have mod rights?
What I was thinking is there going to be a mod. Is there going to be a mod for the debate, because the one on the last time he wasn't really impartial.
Oh, I don't know. This isn't a real debate. This is so Impromptu Debate You is just our new show where we just join. People can come on. It's kind of like an open mic, but on not. I don't want to say not, because counter apologetics is the P&R version of My Friendly Territory, but we are in more exciting ground. People can come in here. We're on more theistic territory, I think, here.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, TNT.
What's going on?
Not too much. How are you?
Pretty good. Do you believe in objective morality?
I believe in morality that's based in situations. I kind of have a middle ground between objective and subjective morality, because I think that there are qualities to morality that are both. I think that it has an objective basis in that when we're speaking of morality, we're speaking about biologically conscious agents that are interacting with each other. If we can accept that objective statement, then we can try to figure out what is subjectively good for us, for all the players on the field.
Yeah, I just don't think I'd be able to grant that statement. I think it's it's a pretty far reach.
All right, what do you believe in for morality?
Huh? What'd you say?
What do you believe in for morality?
Well, I definitely think, like, I'm a moral realist in a robust sense. So I definitely think, I'd say, like, I'm a non-natural moral realist, which means to say that, like, the moral propositions, like, are going to be normative with regards to their relationship. There's going to be some sort of, like, reason giving this, and those reasons for action are going to be obviously like categorical and stance independent, like outside of our desires, but they're going to actually have some sort of essence or nature, such that when we try to like characterize their nature, we advert to a normative relation, and that nature is going to be a non-natural property of some sort. But real quick on what you said, I think it's interesting to presume that consciousness could be reduced to the mind, when the evidence is like completely not in favor of that. So
sure. So I can't grant any of your first premises either. So I think we're on good ground, and I would love to talk why you are a moral realist from a non-natural ground, and why you think that you have some reason for thinking that it would be completely stance independent. Especially, you didn't mention anything, but especially if it comes from a stance dependent thing like a mind. It would almost be an internal contradiction, because you're saying what makes this objective is that it's not based on a mind, and also it's a mind. And so when we're talking, I didn't say you said a God. I'm just saying if it's leading that way, and that's why you're basing a non-natural, because I can understand a moral realist from a natural, and you're trying to make that, but I don't understand. So we'll go into that, and then I'm also confused. But however, we can go into why you don't think consciousness has anything to do with morality.
Yeah, it depends where you want to go first.
Sure. I mean, consciousness has everything to do with reality. It's really one of the hallmarks of what we're talking about. We're not talking about non-conscious agents. Normally, we're not only are we not dealing with inanimate objects, we're not dealing with just like a cup. We're not dealing with just like a planet. We're not even dealing with most of life. Like, we don't really care what happens to bacteria. We don't really care what happens to viruses. We don't really care what happens to fungi. We don't really care what happens to plants. And yet I've just named almost every life form, way more than any conscious agent could ever hope to equal. And so I guess my question back to you is, how could you ever have a morality not based in a consciousness system?
I guess I'm having trouble conceiving of sort of what you mean by that, but like I take it to be that morality is going to be a certain stage, like an inward negated stage of like a dialectical scheme, which in itself is going to be a scheme that is embedded as part of a greater process, and that process is going to be entirely the becoming of its own self-realization, and it's going to be entirely non-physical, which just means to say that rules out any possibility of there being anything physical. So there's nothing physical, it's just a process ontology, and basically it's having really nothing to do with the mind, in the sense that like the consciousness in its like earliest stable stage of concreteness is ordinary, in the sense that it has the power of negation. But once it reaches the highest stage of stable concreteness and is able to move to its first abstract, then it creates a transcending negation that contains its own identity. And at that point, it's able to move to like a supersensuous mode of reason. And in that way, consciousness is just a particular mode in the like self-destructive scheme that is embedding itself, and in that way becomes unconcealed in its nature. But morality just comes in as the like supersensuous modes being transcendental, having a direct dependency, like direct acquaintance and dependency relation to the ordinary mode of consciousness through its, like in virtue of its negation, as I said earlier. So the moral norms are going to be, like I said, propositional, such that they constitute the necessary and sufficient conditions for that normative relation. And that normative relation is going to be such that there's going to be a non-natural property that we advert to when we try to characterize its nature, the nature of the moral proposition, with our ordinary consciousness before it transitions to the supersensuous mode. And then once that's actualized and that sublates, then the sensuous mode reasons through that clarity, and we're able to see like each proposition in their entailments and the truth conditions of each proposition, counting in favor of the truth conditions of the other moral propositions, and in that way there would be some sort of reason givingness or normativity, and now consciousness is in a supersensuous mode, so there's an accordance relation with regards to each mental state in its sublated form of reason.
Okay, I would like to go over a few of those. Let's talk about why. I really want to know where you get your morality from, why you think it's transcendental, what you mean when you are saying a moral norm, if maybe you could go over those. In fact, how exactly do you tell truth, fact from fiction?
Well, it's transcendental in the sense that it's just going to be like the supersensuous mode of consciousness after it's completed the earliest inward stage of negation.
Can I phrase you for just 1 second? Because you said consciousness had nothing to do with this.
To do with what?
Morality.
I never said it has nothing to do with morality.
You didn't?
Well, I may have said that ordinary consciousness can't reason through like the truth conditions of the moral propositions, but that's because it's constantly negating, like there's a transcending negation, but that needs to be sublated, and once it does, then I'm saying there's like it reaches the supersensuous mode, and you can see the clarity in that mode.
A supersensuous mode. I always get that. I jokingly, because I'm a centrist and a moderate, I feel like you're explaining me.
Yeah. But I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Well, I understand pieces of what you're saying. I'll admit there are some things that it didn't quite. I don't know if it answered my question or not, because it became extremely jargon-filled after my last one. But I understood some of it. I would love to, once again, like, what is it that grants your morality? What is it that makes something have a moral norm, and what makes it not only transcendental but the word you used was non-natural?
Nature. Yeah, the propositional nature of each like sentence that expresses an ethical judgment entails like a truth value, such that at least one of these is true, and the propositional nature of the true moral proposition or whatever is going to be such that when we try to characterize its nature in ordinary consciousness before we reach that transcending negation, in which we're able to transition to like our supersensuous form of reason, when we try to characterize its nature in ordinary consciousness, we're always adverting to a non-natural property, which just means to say we're adverting to some sort of normative relation, which in order to respect the paradigms would be constituted as either like a dependency relation, a fittingness relation, a value relation, an accordance relation, a directive, like an authority of some sort. So anything like that would constitute as normative. And what I'm saying is that we're always adverting to that when we try to characterize the nature of said proposition. And in that way, it's adverting to a non-natural property in virtue of those relations being transcendental.
Amy, can I get some Italian dressing for that word salad?
Mamma mia. I would say or ask, it sounds like you're saying morality comes from some of outside authority.
Well, I just want to know real quick if James can repeat anything I said and how it's word salad.
Yeah, it just sounds like a bunch of rambling claims. I mean, have you ever met somebody named Ultimated Judeo-Christian?
That's not what I asked you, though. So can you repeat anything I said specifically and tell me how it's word salad?
Yeah, I mean, he
No.
does. I mean,
Okay.
he does have a point. I mean, just because you don't understand something doesn't necessarily mean it's word salad. I will say DMT, like just
In a
coming in.
colloquial sense.
Well, no. I think that just coming in, though, I feel like after hearing Amy and you speak twice, like I should be able to get a general idea of kind of the question and the answer. And I got an idea of the question, what Amy said, but I think I was still a little confused as to what you were saying. But that's not me saying what you're saying is word salad. I'm just saying I don't understand it. So
Yeah, that's fine. So
yeah,
Amy,
I think when Amy used the word moral norm, I think she meant principle. Though I think you have to be very specific about what words you're using here, and I think that's why some of these conversations in morality and ethics works better in a text format, because it allows you to be a little more precise as to what you're saying, and it allows both parties to be able to reread what the other person is saying. I've just noticed a lot of these conversations that happen in voice chat, just like kind of listening on, and I'm new here, but just listening on. I think some of these words are thrown around without actually adhering to its proper meaning.
Well, when I say like moral norms, like categorical moral norms, it's just saying that there's a normative relationship between the truth conditions of each moral proposition, where the truth conditions of one moral proposition count in favor of the truth conditions of another. So it's like an inferential relationship, basically. If that makes sense. So that's just what I mean to say by that. And actually, the sort of argument I was going to try and get into towards like Amy or anyone who's rejecting moral realism in general is just that like it seems like if you're targeting like the idea that moral statements or statements that express like ethical judgments or whatever are propositional, or even if you say they are propositional but they're all false, it seems like you're targeting categorical normativity, because there's nothing that's going to be true about these moral norms that's not true about like epistemic norms, for example, that you would be able to like not extend your skepticism to the epistemic norms but maintain it for the moral ones. So the question is like if we just extend that skepticism to other areas of discourse and we say like, okay, you're targeting the moral norms, that inferential relationship, then you'd also have to be targeting the epistemic ones as well. If you target the epistemic ones and there's no categorical reasons for belief, if there's no stance independent or categorical reasons for belief, then there's no justification, because that's what I take to be the nature of justification, which obviously is we can argue that premise. And if that's the case, then it would just follow that you would have no knowledge, as justification would be a necessary condition for knowledge.
But can I make a plea to you, DMT? Because there's nothing within atheism that necessitates that you be a more realist, a more subjectivist, or anything in between. In fact, T-Jump is a moral objectivist. His statement for that is a violation of will. I know there are atheists that disagree with it. I'm at least sympathetic. I'm at least sympathetic to the proposition in the phrasing, because at least you're talking about a conscious agent. At least we understand what T-Jump is saying, and that he's trying to talk about, violating a will of an agent, of a conscious being. And so, although I don't think it can truly be objective, because I think we're talking about squishy agents that deal in a lot of different agents, I guess I want to keep on asking, what is it? What is the authority? What is it that makes something moral? And then can you give me an example of like a objectively moral statement?
Well, so for the first of all, like I think T-Jump's normative system is like a meme. He thinks rocks are immoral. He thinks the passage of time is immoral.
That's not answering the question.
It's literally a meme. I don't think anyone takes his like, I don't think anyone takes him seriously. But basically, the idea is that like when we try to, at least for me, when we're trying to characterize the normative relationship between the moral propositions, it's going to point towards some sort of directive or normative authority, in the sense that like these sort of facts, these normative facts that are true in virtue of the reason givingness relationship, are going to be facts that can't really be captured by something like a correspondence theory. And so I'd lean more towards
Can't really
some sort of like
work in English.
contextualism.
I'm just kidding. I love you. Love you, DMC.
But like I'm not totally
smoke you.
convinced on that with regards to the truth conditions of the proposition. Because again, I'm saying the truth conditions are normative. So when you say like what is the authority that gives basically morals, like the issue is that like we're not able, there's like an epistemic gap. Like I don't think we're able to make claims about the nature of the normative authority, but we can make claims about the status and say that these are categorical, these are
single,
stance independent,
married,
and they exist
open.
in some way such that there's a dependency relation between our mental states and these normative relationships with regards to moral norms, epistemic norms, and logical norms. And in that way, it's like adopting like a robust realist thesis that is, if we look at it as a whole, going to be more virtuous if we adopt it in terms of methodology and incorporate non-natural notions with regards to like non-natural properties, and things like that, and the nature of the propositions being normative and having like a concealed nature, such that it's non-natural, like I said. And so that's going to be more virtuous, and it's going to play into at what point the virtues come in regards to our methodology. So if we just like zoom out and look at it as a whole, it's just going to be more virtuous as opposed to like a naturalist thesis.
Well, can I ask, can you give taking that on board, can you give me an example of a objectively moral statement?
Yeah, it's wrong to kill.
Always?
Yeah.
In every situation?
Yes.
Not sure that could. I disagree. I don't think you should try to kill people. I think that is a general good rule of 95 to. I could even stretch it to 99, but there are people that I just don't understand in self-defense and in probably 1,000 other scenarios how you can't think of a justifiable reason.
Well, the reason is because I'm like an idealist in the absolute sense. So like epistemology, or in this case like ethics and metaphysics, are going to be coupled together in the sense that like I'm going to adopt some like principles like the rational is real, sort of like a Hegelian principle. That's just an easy way to conceptualize it. And in virtue of that, like basically reason is reality, if that makes sense, and there is nothing physical. And if ethics, like morality, is directly derived from reason itself, then we just simply have to do a conceptual analysis and take the action and universalize it and see if it leads to a contradiction, which if it does, then it would be irrational and therefore immoral. So I'm looking at like the bigger picture as to what would really aid the greater like dialectical scheme at hand, being that I think it's like a process ontology, and reason is the underlying principle underneath all of it. And so no like emotional appeal is going to get me there. Nothing like none of these like banters that people have in normative ethics is going to get me there. If you say, well, would you kill one baby or like one person to save 5,000 babies? Anything emotional is not going to get me there. Like, it's a bigger picture for me, and that's the way I'm like reasoning it. If that makes sense.
Oh, well, I guess we could play. You're right. We couldn't play emotional appeals if we said.
I mean, it's just like it's all being sidestepped.
Well, yeah. How about one baby or else we kill all the billions of people. I was going to say 4 point. That's how old the planet is. If we kill all the babies on the planet.
Yeah, like I said, it's not going to give me. I'm still gonna it's still gonna hold it. And so the only way we can really talk about that I think is like when we jump to like meta ethics. Really, I think normative ethics is going to be kind of silly for this sort of conversation.
There is a Nazi that is shooting at you. He has all of these children hostages, and the only way you're going to get into that room, I mean, he's at least shooting you. You're going to, I guess, superhero, like punch him out, try and get over there?
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is like these sort of questions that you're asking me are downstream from meta ethics. And because I'm saying that ethics and metaphysics are coupled together in virtue of like my idealism, then basically we're gonna have to like, in order to even like try and sublate this conversation, we need to talk about meta ethics and not just ask meaningless questions about normative or applied ethics. Like these type of questions are meaningless to me.
I think they're very relevant. I think they're probing both of our viewpoints. I think that, I mean, I don't think you're going to find many people that are going to say killing is good or most of killing is good. I think that that would be basically detrimental, degenerate, and the fall of society. We're social creatures, but all of these things are really, if I can't just help get back to almost all of them, or back to my original point of it being about biological conscious agents. And if those aren't the two objective standards that you're even granting me, then I don't even know what else would be objective about morality.
Oh, reason. That's what I'm saying. Like reason alone is like the universal forms by which the process is like embedding itself and trying to cohere to. And so what I'm saying is that these like ethical judgments or just like these, when you hold these things in a conceptual analysis and try to analyze them, the virtues that come out of that are going to have metaphysical analogs. Like the ethical virtues are going to have metaphysical analog. And so what that means to say that they're coupled together, like I said earlier. So, yeah, like, and I'm not going to grant that consciousness is reduced to like anything physical either. Like I said earlier,
Can I ask a question?
Oh, absolutely.
If a man is charging at you with a machete and you have a gun, are you going to shoot him or not?
No, I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to try and
You're
run
not
away.
going to kill him. You can't run. So what you're telling me is that you do not have a fight or flight response, and basically you're going to have your head chopped off by a machete.
I mean, of course I'll have a fight or flight response, but
well, you can't. There's no way to run, and you have a man
I'll be right back.
charging at you with a machete with the intent to kill you, and you have a gun. Will you shoot him?
No.
Why?
Because it's irrational.
How is it irrational? You have a man that is threatening to take your life. You have the option to kill that person before he gets to you and cut your head off. So you would just stand there, allow him to walk up to you, basically, and cut your head off.
If I can play devil's advocate for a bit, I'm from the Netherlands. If police encounter a situation like that, they are trained to shoot but not to kill. There's no reason to kill someone, even if they come charging at you with a machete. You can take them out in a different way so they can't kill you anymore. I think you need a better example.
Yeah, like I'm gonna just grant like everything.
Better example, if Jason Voorhees was coming at you.
Same thing.
The point is that like Jason, I'm gonna say
the character in Friday, Jason Voorhees. I mean, there are people out there that, regardless whether you kill or hit them with a bullet in the leg or the arm, these kind of people are still going to come after you. You absolutely have to kill them to stop them. Otherwise, they don't stop.
Nope.
There was a police officer that shot a guy in the head, and because he was high on drugs, when the other officers got there, the sheriff and the guy that had his skull blown off was both dead. The sheriff was freaked out, and the
American police are idiots. What can I say?
Off. They were both dead.
Yeah.
You always
shoot him in the leg, and then he won't come after you anymore. He will just lie on the floor waiting for you to grab him.
That's not always.
You always have the option to not act, right?
Well, that's when nature kicks in, fight or flight response. You're going to fight for your life.
Not necessarily. Like I'm gonna have the impulse to, but I'm not gonna I'm able to think about it and make a decision.
Me, I could take a machete, walk up to you, and cut your head off, just slice your throat, and you won't fight me.
Well, I wouldn't kill you. I would try and defend myself, put my hands up and try to push you away.
I would put the blade up to your neck and cut you ear to ear. Okay.
How far are we going to move?
You're telling me that you will not fight that?
How far are we going to move?
You will get cut up.
I never said I wouldn't fight it. I said I wouldn't kill you. I don't think it's irrational to fight.
Then why do we have people in prison?
That's a good question.
These people that are spending a life in prison, the reason they're in there is because they would not stop. I sat with a guy.
It's because you have a stupid judicial system
and murdered another, 3 to 5 inmates.
It's because you have a stupid judicial system.
Yeah, it is stupid. Because I know someone. Yeah, he went into
in the Netherlands. We've got a different judicial system, and we are now, after several decades of using that, finding ourselves in a position where we don't have enough criminals anymore to fill our prisons. So we're going to rent out prisons to Norway and Belgium because crime is going down because our judicial system is different.
I wanted to move to the Netherlands, actually. I really like it.
It's going to be hard. We've got a lot of refugees coming in at the moment.
Yeah, but I know someone who it was his first crime ever. He walked into a bingo place, and he just robbed it. Just stuck it up with a gun. He didn't shoot anyone, obviously, and he got 3 life sentences. He was 16 years old.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. He should get 5 years or so, but not 3 life sentences.
He should get psychological help first, and then see if he can be rehabilitated. And if that's the case, then he should go back into society as long as he's no longer a risk. That's how we do things in my country, and it works.
Yeah,
we've got the statistics to prove it. The way the U.S. is dealing with things, shoot people on sight if they got a gun, that's just stupid. And it's going to get a lot of people killed for no good reason.
Yeah, the U.S. kind of sucks.
It does. They've got more people in prison per capita than the rest of the world combined. That ought to say something.
Because it's free labor too.
And you've got the fact where people in the judicial system have a share in prisons, so they're making money off of people going to prison. Yeah, it's funny how no one seems to see how that is wrong.
I would highly reform our prison system.
Yeah.
Right now, they are basically criminal making systems instead of criminal deterring systems.
Granted, I do still disagree with our guest that there are situations in which it is justified to kill. But
absolutely is justified to kill in certain situations.
I just said that.
Well, I mean, I go after specific forms of self-defense because even when I am attacked, I don't want to kill them. If I can, I would like to make them pass out or dislocate their shoulder or do something. If I had a gun, maybe you could shoot them or shoot something off. My point would just be, I wanted to get really a
I can come up, Amy.
Yes.
I can come up with a completely different proposition. In my country, euthanasia is legal, unless it has to be done by a registered doctor, a physician. So, yeah, they can kill people if they want to end their life. And that is not just for people who have a terminal disease.
That I disagree with. Terminal disease and just taking their life to, like...
Yeah, you'd rather see people suffer.
No, I'm more of something called hospice.
Yeah, as I said, you rather see people suffer.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's
if you have cancer and your whole body is breaking down, and you want to end it, you should have the right to end it and stop your suffering. And if people disagree with that, those people are morons, or idiots, like you put it in the private chat.
Michael Smith, and
calls the dictionary wrong.
Yes, because they are.
They're not.
They are.
That's how you find definitions of words. You look them up. Dictionaries are not wrong.
There's no definition that has no dictionary that has a decent definition of atheism, for instance. Not one. Yeah.
Well, I could find that out real quick.
Not one.
I just wanted to jump in real quick and back up a little bit. And this isn't to throw shade at Peter, but I've heard him make this claim before about what police in the Netherlands are required or not required to do. And Peter, you're only presenting half of the 2012 Police Use of Force Act in the Netherlands. Police are encouraged to try to use less than lethal means. They're not required to use less than lethal means. So the cops shooting, the police shooting people in the legs are only if it's reasonable given the situation. And they define a lot of terms, like if the guy's far away, then try to shoot him in the leg. If the guy is not a threat to the like he can't, an immediate threat to the public, attempt to shoot him in the leg. We're talking about the man with a knife scenario, right? So they spent a lot of time for about 10 years doing a commission study on trying to narrow the use of force. But in some situations, it is totally legitimate in the Netherlands for a knife-wielding man to be shot and immediately killed, depending on the entire, in the totality of the circumstances. If they're in a crowded area and an immediate threat to the officers, lethal force can be used. It's in a crowded area. People, the police here are told not to shoot because you could shoot innocent bystanders. And Peter, I'm just going to correct you. You're wrong, because I've actually read the Netherlands report because it's part of the a series of acts in the Europe that were passed. Now it would be discouraged, but if an officer felt that the safety of the public was at greater risk than taking the shot, depending on the backstop where it was occurring. So just to say police would never shoot into a crowd, that's not true in the Netherlands, depending on I'm not saying that. Hold on. I didn't say that. But there are also things, if an officer shoots and kills someone, what happens then? Well, they have a very detailed review board policy. I would say that the he's immediately placed on non-active duty, pending the investigation. Right, but he's not going to go back into active duty until the investigation has been fully concluded. Right, and that's an after-action issue, right? That's not determining how officers are actually going to use force in the field in the Netherlands, and Belgium and France has many of these countries in that region have similar, not identical. That's one of the parts on the commission report. But laws. It is part of the reason why Dutch cops will only shoot to kill as a very last resort. They're encouraged,
it's extremely rare.
Well, you're saying extremely rare.
Yes.
I'm saying that.
Can I read something from the government website of the Netherlands?
Hey, Nestle.
Sure.
Hello. It says on the use of force by investigating officers assessed in accordance with the new legal framework. It says the basic principle of the actions of an investigating officer is, in all cases, de-escalation as a last resort, and after having issued a warning, the investigating officer is authorized to use force. The officer must account for the use of any type of force if the use of force has led to grievous bodily harm or death. The Dutch National Police Internal Investigation Department of Security, Integrity and Complaints Unit will always conduct an investigation. That's basically the summary.
Right, and that's exactly what I just said. Right, but there's even an exception to that. They must announce themselves in their report. So if in a situation, like in tactical situations, Dutch cops, particularly snipers, don't have to announce themselves. Dutch tactical teams responding to certain types of critical incidents don't have to announce themselves. I think, pulling something off one paragraph, I mean, their commission report is it's at least 100 pages long if you look at the PDF, but it's probably longer than that. So again, it's not just a simple Dutch cops don't shoot people. And if they, there are exceptions, and I will say that there is a more restrained use of force in the Netherlands than the United States. But Peter made a statement earlier that cops will, Netherlands cops will try to shoot people to wound them. Well, as long as it's reasonable.
No. They are encouraged to initially shoot to just wound if necessary, because that is one of the last resources. As Nestle pointed out, a lot of effort is put into de-escalation of a situation, and sometimes it's not even necessary to go to violence because they can de-escalate the situation before anything happens.
If the situation presents that set of facts where de-escalation is possible, I would agree with you. Yeah. But to say that they're always encouraged to do that, there are what we know as critical incident responses that even the Dutch realize that cops in general show up in these incidents and are immediately required to use lethal force. Now it's discouraged, and
that is based on a lot of information beforehand. So think of terroristic attacks or people who have been under investigation and known to the police to be extremely violent. Then obviously you've got the
Oh, I got channel locked. I don't know if I'm not allowed to be streaming. Okay. Do. Not sure what happened. Huh. Do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give me a second. Because I am locked out of the channel. That was fun. Not sure if he pinged me. Am I not allowed to stream? I'm pretty sure we are allowed to stream on there. I'm not sure why I got thrown out. Well, it was fun while I was on there. I wonder if I should just throw a StreamYard link out in a second or just go to another channel. Let me see if sometimes it has a who locked me. Here we go. Who locked you? I have been locked by Julian Apasti. Room operator. Well, he is a room operator, counter-apologetics, a deist. Not sure why, but he threw me out of there for... Yes, it looks like. So as you can actually go here, I'll show everybody at least. So you can see it says that I have been locked out by colored energetics by this person. Because here's me. I tell everyone I'm streaming because I really feel kind of weird, like not telling people. But streaming's allowed in PNR. I think this person just doesn't like me, if I'm being honest. Like, it's more, if I would have to guess, even though I don't know this person well, it should be just because of who I am as a human being. And they just don't like me. It's okay. I'm sending you love, Julianus. We'll just go somewhere else, I guess. I really wanted to get opposition view. If I go into just here, it'll be people that just agree with me. Let's see, there's Sanctuary, and Speakeasy. Let's see. Faith Talks, Fellowship. There's the Speakeasy. I could try talking in a Speakeasy. That sounds kind of friendly. I know Seven Loves or Head. What? How dare they? Street. What is this? Street Metaphysical? Oh, don't know. Crypta Kabadaba Habadabadabda. Well, let's just go into, I guess, the Speakeasy, see what they're talking about, see if anything's going on.
States currently, no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. So basically, if YouTube isn't actually like the user or the owner of the information that's like being put on its website. So if someone who supports ISIS puts a fucking terrorist video on YouTube.
Trying to think, is this person just saying anti-TOS stuff and railing against YouTube? We love you, ads. We love you so much. Sanctuary. Panhandlers. I know the Panhandlers used to be, I have been in a few times. Maybe I'm just going to go in there and we'll see if someone joins. How's everyone doing in chat? I apologize for the random. It wasn't even me talking. I wasn't even in my back and forth stage. I was actually having, I thought, a good back and forth with DMT. I used to have a good back and forth with DMT years ago, if you get what I mean. I wanted. Oh, someone joined us. Oh. Hi, how are you?
I am pretty good, I will say.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I am trying to just get some social interaction before bed, so.
Woo-hoo. Well, it's lovely to meet you, and I guess I'm looking for the same thing.
Hey, let's go.
Like this person already.
So let me ask. Oh, tags. Nice. Atheist agnostic, nice. The only position.
Woohoo! I know, right? And yes,
okay,
Peter,
so you're a physical materialist too, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my God, thank you. People have told me, because I had my roommate, I don't know the names of all the, philosophical ideas and stuff like that, but I know the concepts, right? But for that one, I don't think I heard of it. I kind of get an idea of what it means, that it's like the world is only physical, right? And to some extent, and I know that that's picking it apart. You could pick apart that sentence like crazy, but it's like just generally speaking, right? But it's like I cannot get a firm grasp on what other people have an issue with, like how it falls apart, I'm not getting it. So maybe you can explain it a little better as to like what it means, like specifically, because people keep giving me shitty definitions.
Sure, or I could give you at least what it means to me. When I talk about a physicalist or a materialist, what I'm saying is that as far as we can tell right now, everything is either matter or energy. I will grant that, but between those two paintbrushes, as far as we can tell, all of the laws are physical. The things that we interact with are made of matter. And for anything to supersede that, I feel like we would have a really high bar.
No, you're wrong. You're stupid. You're no kidding. Okay, got you. Yeah, then I agree with that. Because, I mean, like, we don't really have evidence for anything else, right?
Sure, and there are multiple ways you can cut up physicalism and materialism, and there's a million different labels. You can be a naturalist and a methodological naturalist and all of these different, the nitty-gritty of it. But I would say that what I was saying is more like top ground, is that as far as I can tell, we're in the material world. I want to test things by means of empirical methodologies based on that natural world. And until there's other evidence, I'm keeping my mind open, but I don't see anything else.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Because, yeah, somebody was... I'm pretty sure they had a lack of... Like, they were accusing me of a lack of understanding, but every time I said I didn't understand something, I try to be honest about it. But somebody else was telling me, like...
Well...
Like, qualia, like, the experiencing of something. Like, that's where we went. And, like, and I know and kind of get the idea of qualia, but it's like... Like... They were giving me the whole somebody knows everything about colors, you know, that old saying. But then they're experiencing something when they, you know, like see colors or whatever. And I was like, yeah, they're open, you know, knowing something doesn't mean you've had everything stimulated, you know, like for your perceptions of it. So it's like you may know about blue or red or whatever, but then like, you know, when you see it, it's your eyes doing all the little functioning things that it does into your brain. You're seeing something and it's like functions, right? But then like what he was saying that was like, no, she already knew everything. And I'm like, how is that not what I said? And all that stuff. So like it was just like a whole conversation. It really kind of gave me a sour taste in the mouth. I know I'm having like a conversation. I'm talking about a conversation you were not a part of.
No, it's fine. And can I just tell you that, in my opinion, that the apologists have a number of different tactics, and one is to become, and I feel like I was just experiencing this. I don't know who I'm talking about randomly, some other conversation, but they get extremely jargon filled. I think the more that, because you generally want to explain concepts simply. And so the moment that you feel like your Englishometer you're like, it's English, but it doesn't make any sense. That's like a first detection. And the second is anyone who berates you for asking a question or not knowing something when you admit to it, because that's the hard part, is admitting to something. So if someone's trying to use that as a power move, that's probably like more of a them thing than a you thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I feel like I'm trying to be as open and as honest as I can in everything I'm kind of having a conversation with. Like when people are, you know, explaining their ideas, I try to understand where they're coming from as thoroughly as I can. So it's like, I don't think I'm doing it, you know, like I'm being malicious in my intent, but they just were not having my answer. Like, I don't know, but that's good to know that it, like, your perception of what you're saying kind of is like aligned with mine, and I feel less crazy, you know.
Absolutely, you are not alone.
Dude, you'll never be a woman. You'll never be a woman. You'll never be a woman. You'll never be a woman.
Yeah, but yeah, your god doesn't exist. Eve was never a real human.
I was gonna mute him, but he's.
I kind of agree with him though.
Oh no, you're good. Welcome, 737.
Yeah. So back to the original topic, Amy. Why are you such a disgusting beast?
Sure, because your disgust is kind of like an inner projection. Something happened to you, or someone taught you something that has made you feel that disgust, and so we need to figure out what it is and how to help you get over it.
Damn, that was a good comeback.
Sorry, Amy. Disgusting.
Hey, like I said, it's more of a you thing, but I love you. I forgive you whenever you want to talk about any other subject that isn't identity politics. I'm open to it. I mean, I'll talk about identity politics, and but you know, also talking about why your God doesn't exist.
Interesting.
I'll pray for you, Amy, and yeah, hopefully someday you'll get rid of that demon that's inside of you and come back to the Lord.
Damn it, Danielle! I didn't know it was you. What is up? It's lovely to see you off of chat. I forgot.
You guys know each other, I imagine.
Yes, I feel bad because I'm recording and streaming this, but I won't say it unless, but like, let's just say 10 out of 10 times the people who are anti-LGBTQ, either in the closet, religious, or both.
So you just think it's projection, nothing else.
Every time I get told, I'm like, oh, you just think that, you're just saying that, and then every time, like
you're just saying that, the end of it, you really are.
Okay. I mean, every time people
was that
say
your real
that,
voice, Amy? When your voice just went really deep, then was that your real voice?
No, my real voice is like this.
That is terrifying. Well, like they say earlier, I'm sure you terrify children.
Oh, is that you? Do you often think about children?
At least we don't fuck them.
Yes,
What?
We're not the religious institutions.
Why does your mind just instantly go to like child molestation? Like, why is that first thing you think about that?
Well, it tends to be like a religion speciality, though I will admit it doesn't matter if you're bi, trans, straight, or gay. It's just like certain institutions used to pass around priests, like at SeaWorld, or like they were at SeaWorld. I'm sorry, like because SeaWorld has the whales that bite them.
Why is like child molestation like a joke to you? Like you're making a joke out of this.
Well, I feel like, but
I get like you're using like children getting molested.
So
as
here,
a political,
let's put on like two different pillars. On one side, it's my joke about child molestation, but on the other side, it's an institution passing around children like they're gumballs.
I will say, to answer your question, like, sincerely, I think it's kind of hard to have a real, genuine, serious, like, conversation when you come into a chat, like, very hostile immediately. Like, you could say you disagree with it and then be like, okay, let's have a productive conversation. Like, why you feel that this is incorrect? Because if you're right, I want to know, right? And, I mean, I feel like deep down, if I was right, you would want to know too, right? So, I mean, like, I would like to have a more productive conversation, but I just find it's been so incredibly toxic and rude that people have been in terms of the religious side. And I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but just I see that so commonly. It's kind of hard to, get away from that a lot of times, I feel.
Amy is the one who is hostile to me. They offend my eyes every time I look upon them.
Oh, come on.
See, no, that's rude. That's
and
not
they
a...
are a foul mockery
really...
of
That's not really talking about the topic, though, right? That's kind of attacking the person. So it's like that's not really looking for a conversation.
He's two insults away from why he gets the name
father.
Daniela.
Come on, Andrew. I know you have it inside of you.
That's funny. You have kind of like, we hate to say like a sky daddy, but he's like a heavenly father, right? Which is kind of the same thing.
Of course, it is your father as well.
Oh
He's
my.
very disappointed in the way you act.
Is he? What doesn't he like about me?
That you're a foul mockery of everything feminine.
Oh, really? Do you think you can do it better than me?
Genitals.
That is not what I was saying at all.
Oh, really? There was a really long pause there. Do you want me to give a microphone over to you?
I love that shirt. Genitals lives matter. It's really funny.
What's up, boys? Who's going to talk about pornography?
Let's go. Fuck
Asher. Yeah, so let's talk about that as well. You claim to be like a male pornography star or something like that.
I'm trying. I need to set up my account on Pornhub, but I'm working on it.
Nice.
I was talking to Amy.
Oh.
So you're spreading filth out into the world, and you've also claimed to be a prostitute on multiple occasions.
So,
nice.
Yes and yes. So I used to do porn. I wouldn't say it's what I've been doing recently, but I really should get back into it. I kind of stumbled into academia. I've been kind of addicted ever since. It's a different kind of D. And so, yeah, I used to also be a ho-ho. I'd support sex work. I could give tips to how to get into the business if you are a legal consenting adult, which is how it should always be. And if you are a sex trafficker, you should enjoy prison. I guess that's kind of how we cut. Your God never exists.
So
you have no eggs.
I can buy them by the dozen.
So you Newman.
Yes.
So you had to like clean out your asshole and do all that sort of stuff to prepare, and you take a thing called prep. Do you take prep?
Okay, I just want to ask, what subject are we talking about?
The possibility of you having HIV.
Like I used to know when I used to live in Melbourne, Australia. I used to know some homosexual guys who would do sexual acts for money.
What?
So I'm talking about that.
Did he say his friends or him? Am I hallucinating?
I mean, it's always a good idea to clean out before you do anal stuff.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
Oh, is that what we're talking about?
Do you take that? You take that prep stuff, right?
Well, I just want to ask: is that is the subject? You said the subject again.
Like selling your body for money, I guess, but like you don't have to put it that way.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say I was more of a dominatrix. I mean, I'm completely open to doing sexual things, and I go both ways. But if you were looking for someone just to get butt sex, I probably wasn't your girl. I could do that. I could do pegging as generally a good routine, but yeah, it was probably them cleaning themselves out.
Oh my gosh. The guy that I knew in Australia used to get guys messaging him on Grindr just for like oral sex or something, and they would meet him behind a building and stuff to do it, or like wherever. And he said he had all sorts of tradesmen and like married dudes, corporate dudes, all sorts of people who would come. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
I had a DEA agent who did.
Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling about that? What makes you happy about that?
About what? About making people. I sold orgasms. It is literally the best product probably in the world. My rivals were chocolate and cheesecake.
That's really funny.
I just do not understand what makes you happy about that degenerate behavior, and it's not a way to live your life.
Sure, because
like you have to take a medication to stop you from getting a disease.
I don't know if you know this, but
I just wanted to say really quick. Oh, I was just gonna say really quick. I was just gonna say that, like, see, once again, I feel like you're asking a question, like you want to know, like you're like, hey, I don't see why you feel this way, right? Because I mean, like, you genuinely feel you're not trolling. You genuinely feel like your God's the doing things right, right? You feel like you have a somewhat superior viewpoint of the world, right?
Yeah, I'm not here to troll you guys.
Just taking you seriously for a second, right? I think it's interesting that you ask a question or you want to have understanding of like, well, I don't understand why you do that, or this is interesting, or I want to know more. But then immediately you back that up with two other statements that are like, this is wrong, this is horrible, this is bad. But you don't offer understanding back. You know, you're not bringing back like, hey, like this is why I feel that you're wrong, or maybe like let's talk about it. Like I just don't see any openness from you at all. It just like anything that she's saying is just coming back at you for being an asshole. But
you say
I just feel like you
she,
should be open.
that's a biological male, and
Because it's like, would Jesus do what you're doing? Like you believe in Jesus, right? Like
yeah,
would
I think Jesus would do what I'm doing because no,
What are you
Amy's
doing?
living life the right way.
What are you
Jesus
doing?
does believe in truth. Jesus does believe in truth.
Yo, Amy Newman, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you the person in the video that you were streaming?
Like right now, I am still streaming right now. Yes, I am streaming.
Where are you streaming? Like, what do you stream?
Why, that is a fantastic question. I'm streaming at youtube.com/Amy Newman, but also at Twitch TV/Amy Newman Skeptic.
Someone was showing you. Someone was saying you were streaming a video with like some police.
Of police?
Okay, never mind. They were lying. It was Magpie.
It's quite clever of you to pick Newman as your new last name.
That is actually irony. I can't. I think it's not. It's both a coincidence and irony. But yeah, I mean, I like being me.
So you have to take this prep stuff, right? It's like probably a pill, but it's also like you got to use like one of those things, the Enigma things that clean up like your downstairs area if you're ever gonna do some stuff with the dude.
Oh, an enema.
And-
I was like, what the are you talking about? It took me a second.
Oh yeah,
okay,
enema.
I got there.
Yeah, an enema. And that helps you to like do it safely, right? Because you can't actually do it safely without taking that stuff, right?
Taking the stuff? I feel like gay
Well,
men
you take this.
I think he's referring to an enema. That's okay.
In Australia, it's called PrEP. PrEP is not just the enema; it's the substances that you take to prepare yourself for homosexual relations.
Do you mean liquid, warm temperature water that you fill into the enema bag?
No. Forget the enema. There's a thing in Australia called PrEP. It's a stuff that you consume.
I feel like it's
so that you
being
don't get
very
STIs and stuff like
specifically
that.
in like his bathroom.
PrEP is mainly only utilized in communities that they're with AIDS and stuff and HIV. If you don't have AIDS or HIV and you and your partner don't have that, you don't need to take that.
But you could still get HIV from your partner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep cutting everybody off. I apologize.
Oh no, you're good, Cammy.
I was just gonna say really quick. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've seen commercials of that as well. But it's kind of like a drug that helps prevent or mitigate symptoms of HIV. And I think it's just HIV though. I don't think it goes for other STDs.
Yeah, it's only HIV. So if you and your partner don't have any signs of HIV, or you get tested regularly, you don't necessarily need that unless you're HIV positive.
Mm-hmm. You guys want to know something really interesting? HSV1 and HSV2, 2/3 of the population have HSV.
I did not know that. That's really interesting.
It's super freaking common. And it's like, and the only reason people don't notice or don't talk about it as much is because most people have it, but it's asymptomatic, or most people have it, like another majority of people have it, but it is so slight of symptoms. Like it'll be just a zit on your lip, or it'll be like, you know, a little white canker sore. Like canker sores only happen if you have herpes, HSV. But like 2/3 of the population have it, and it's most of the time it's very, very like not severe at all. There's only very rare cases where it's severe. And get this, 90% of the population has some form of strain of a variant of HSV. So I'm like, that is fucking crazy. But like, but everybody, but when you say it, when you go, oh, I have herpes, like people are always like, oh my god. But it's like 90% of the population fucking have it.
Yeah. Herpes isn't HIV. HIV and herpes are different. But
yeah, I just was saying, I thought that was kind of interesting because I didn't know until I got tested. And I was like, and they were like, "You have herpes." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I don't know how I know. I was like before, like.
So, why do you think God curses you homosexuals with these types of diseases?
I was gonna read it in the super chat.
You probably have herpes too, bro.
Oh, this is Jordan Watch. Look at this shit custom made.
Also,
your microphone is.
There's a majority of straight people nowadays. Back then, HSV was a whole thing they spread because it's anal and then all this other thing. But nowadays, like most people are carriers that could conceive of HSV, even though it is like it's more common in gay people. But now it's like if you look at the chart, everybody is susceptible to it.
Just want to, as much as I actually love Cammy, and she's actually giving amazing points, but before it continues going on there, I just want to very quickly send love to Sinister. I want to read it out loud. Andrew's Anime Catgirl OnlyFans account is great. Meow, 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 meow. Thank you so very much. And then I want to send in a $10 super sticker, sending so much love from Ian Davenport. Thank you. It's a superhero who is way cooler than the supervillain that would be Yahweh. And all right, we're going back in. I just had to say that. And thank you so very much, Ian and Porpoise. I'm back.
No, I just think the way you live is disgusting, and I want no part of it in any way.
You don't have to. Believe it or not, you don't have to be gay.
Well,
also, if you don't want to hear it, if you also don't want to hear it, you don't have to be where people are talking about it. But clearly, you're here talking to us, right? So, again, you're either trying to communicate a message, or you're just torturing yourself, which is kind of kinky, but all right.
And also,
I mean, some people like that. Who are you to judge? I don't judge that.
Hey, you know what? He can do whatever he sees fit.
Well,
I believe that you guys have demons inside of you, and they need to be removed.
So, deist, anti-theist, and Cammy.
Antithesis.
Deist, antithesis. I'm sorry. Deist, antithesis. Nice to meet you. And Cammy, I just want to say that he's on strike 3. Or strike 2, and so Danielle, you should be nice. I'm just saying.
Who's on strike 2 or 3? I'm sorry.
Well, I don't like to give away information, but like I mean, of course that Danielle isn't just on here to talk about why LGBTQs are bad. They're on here to basically do, I guess, therapy, whatever it is that religious closeted people do when they come on here.
Oh. Okay, because I'm not doing that. I think that
Oh, but people like Beloved Asher are also racist and bigoted and just about every traditional.
That's right. We hate Israel.
I don't believe racism exists.
Racism exists. Racist.
How can you be racist how can you be racist if racists don't exist? I'm a little confused.
We want a society full of white people. Only white people should be allowed in our society.
That's degenerate, but thank you. So
it's not. How is it degenerate? How is that degenerate?
Because you're basically taking an arbitrary, just basically skin tone. You're like, it should be this way for because reasons and feelings. But basically your own opinion And once again, degenerate out and in tribal group that's only existed for like 200 years.
Right. But let's be fair. Homogenous societies do better, right? And so, like, you can look at Japan and other homogenous societies, and they actually are striving a little bit better. But that's not saying that you can't do. America can't be homogenous, even with different people of different races, right? I think that's possible.
Even people in your stream chat, Amy, are agreeing that they have demons, sexual demons.
Okay, there we go.
They're saying
Daniel.
they want sex demons.
Now, Danielle gets her name from the fact that her cousin used to tease her, used to call her Danielle all the time. And so I think now Danielle has kind of internalized it. Might be a little bit. Don't check browser history. But Danielle, I feel like it's not demons. It's not parasites. You just love the D.
I want sex demons. I saw that.
Hey, to be fair, sex demons does sound fun.
I mean,
know, right?
Sounds like a good night for me.
I'd
sign up.
White power, white power. We want white societies. We don't want
I have a
societies.
shirt that is like, it's like it has like sexy demon girls on it, and it's like demon girls need love too.
Oh, really? Do you have that shirt?
Huh?
Fucking degenerate.
You said you have that
keep
shirt?
on
White
saying it.
nationalism.
Yeah.
We support Adolf Hitler.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, the only thing that Mustache Man did right was he shot Mustache Man.
He never killed himself. You're a liar, and you're a huge liar in it. That's why I put triple brackets in your name in the general chat, because you're a lying Jew. You hate Adolf Hitler. You hate Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior.
Well,
and
I do think that it was a good thing that Hitler's in the ground and that he made himself be there.
it's a horrible thing. He did a lot of good things. He
Can
did a lot
I
of good
ask,
things.
Magpie? Okay, you're like saying white flower, white flower. What is it exactly that makes you specifically? What do you bring to society that makes us need to like copy and just make a lot of you?
Well, number one, I'm a white nationalist, and there's not a lot of white nationalists in this world. Number two,
You're starting off real hot and good there.
yeah, and I believe that in a white society,
I think I muted.
I believe. Shut up. I believe that we should
I
secure
have him
the
muted
existence
too.
of our people and our future for our
Yeah,
white children.
because he was like screaming.
But like,
Yeah.
what do you bring? Like specifically you?
I will bring white children into this world.
Oh yeah, you can like humps and really hard and make a baby. That's really impressive.
That's right.
I've never heard
How many-
that
how-
before.
How many children do you have?
I have 6 children.
Yeah, he's a Catholic. He's probably
That scares
really into
me,
children.
if true.
How many
I don't
children do you
know.
have? How many children do you have? I'm sorry, I
I
didn't hear
have
it,
six-
Magpie.
I have 6 beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed children.
Magpie, you mind if I ask Newman a question?
Go ahead.
I feel bad stereotyping, but
All right.
I
So,
actually love
Mr.
Southern
Newman,
cooking, so
do you
It's
think
so
that
hard for you to
transsexuals-
just call her by her own name?
Do you think
Just sorry.
transsexuals should be
I'm
able
just-
to
I'm just
compete
curious.
against
it is.
women?
They
or
need it
against-
more than I do. So what's up,
Again-
beloved? What's up?
I know. Thank you. Thank you for calling me that. So, beloved Newman, have you seen how like some trans people are competing in sport against women when they're like born male? What are you okay with that? Like seriously?
It depends on what the sport. I would say for a giant majority of them, I am. I think that there's some that it's going to be hard to completely get rid of. If you are post-pubescent and have already gone, it's going to be hard. But for the most part, I have found that transgenders are not actually dominating. What happens is 1 or 2 transgenders who actually do rise up through the ranks, they just say, well, they won because they're trans. That's what generally speaks to happen. And I just have to put this final note, is that whenever I talk about something like sports, it has to, within that context, always be, but we all are cool with being transgender, right? But then any response you want to that?
I have a question to you. So which sports do you think that would not be fair? That's a good question. You said most sports it's not like that, but which ones would you say like this is the line? I don't know.
it depends on the sport and it depends on the activity. There's some in which men and women have really no competitive advantage. There's some in which you can actually negate the majority through taking out of hormones. There's a difference between a striking boxing match and swimming.
Okay, so I was asking which competitive sport was the ones that you said would be unfair under your examples. You said boxing. Is that one of them? Is there more?
I'm saying that could be. I'm giving two. I'm also giving my opinion, the science. If for each sport as they come along.
I would say boxing is not one of them because you can do that based on a weight class. So
sure,
it doesn't matter whether or not a man is fighting a woman if they're in the same weight class. Why should that be a problem?
Okay, how about wrestling? Same
thing. Same thing.
Okay, MMA. Let's see. What football?
Football. I don't see why shouldn't
with the round pigskin ball. Like
why shouldn't women be allowed to play in a football team along with males?
Because the women probably would die. The men outweigh them. They're extremely there was a guy who just got tackled the other day. He died and he didn't even hit anything, and he died. And he came back.
Same thing would happen to a skinny guy.
I was going to ask. Do you think if Brittany Griner got tackled by a man, do you think that she would die?
Probably.
Okay, I feel that's silly. I don't think that she would die.
I like to implore the alternative that I for one would love to see an all-female football team. That sounds like it might be fun to watch.
The sport's not made for women.
See, that's a whole other.
You know what? Just seeing lovely women just crash into each other. I'm just saying, there's an audience. I'm just saying.
I mean, if that's the case, then you should go with European football because at the end of the match they exchange shirts. So I don't know. Maybe that'll help you.
Yeah, I have Bill Burr in the back of my head.
You said it's what football?
European football.
But Cammy, I love her.
As in soccer.
She's so fun. And she has good arguments.
Oh, got you.
And she's...
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty hot, too.
I think the hottest one is mud wrestling. I think that's hot.
No, volleyball. That's the hottest one. That's got to definitely be the hottest one, right?
Maybe.
Well, beach volleyball. I'm going to
no matter the gender. If you're a guy or a girl, it don't matter. You're in women's, you're in men. Volleyball's great.
No, I agree. Volleyball is hot one way. No matter what it is, no matter what. Yeah, volleyball's hot.
I think we just got into what is hot from what is. We're on a completely different topic here.
I'm pretty sure Danielle will butt in.
I'm sure Daniel is really liking the conversation.
Oh, do you actually go by Daniel? I don't know which one you go by, Daniel or Danielle. Was she making a joke because you were doing the
I think we should stick with Danielle.
Can I give you a criticism of trans people?
I 100% was.
They're ugly and they're not human.
But I do call him that because his cousin used to tease him and call him Daniel.
Yeah.
So now
Danielle.
it's to him specifically.
Whatever you guys want to be called, I'll call. You want to be called fart fucker? I'll call you fart fucker. Whatever you guys want to be.
I'm generally. I feel like I'm the same way.
Fart fucker. That's
all right. When you name this fart fucker, I'm gonna call you.
So when this young man was exposed to women's cleavage and women's magazines and girls in bikinis on the beach, he ended up searching these things on the internet when he realized that he could masturbate. And he ended up going into pornographic websites with all these ads and all this stuff blinking at him. And he just wanted to watch two girls kiss. So he started watching two girls kissing. And
this is gonna
it's okay to say that this guy is you. Don't be ashamed.
The two girls.
I know we
kissing.
all know it's you. So
Yeah.
Dude, what's with this hypersexuality, bro? We get it. Like, you're a subversive retard, okay? You're a Westerner retard. You're not from the South. You're not a Southerner. You're just a faggot. That's all you are, and you want to subvert everything to a sexual construct, okay, dude? Like, how could the dude be talking about some story, trying to give you charity, and you bring it about sex, like some sexual masturbation that he's doing? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm sorry. I didn't know he was talking about you. Sorry.
Hey, username Peter, that wasn't really nice. And Magpie's actually right about that. But
Wait,
anyway,
I'm confused. He was talking about sex. That was the entire point of the subject.
Here's the thing, Asher.
No, you're interrupting my story.
Hold on. Here's the thing. I mirror behaved.
Yes, back to the lesbian sex.
That's
okay.
So
apparently,
the lesbian stuff.
And if you're going to talk about lesbian sex, I live with two bisexual women.
Sorry, Peter. Let me just.
I might be able to help you out.
Did you want to say something? I'll go. Okay, so the lesbians turned into the guys watching big booby porn, like big tit porn, and then the big tit obviously was associated with like mothers. So then he went from the big tit porn to MILF porn, and the MILF porn with the mother situation, like with all the stuff that's on the main pages of porn sites these days, we all know it. It went into like the brother and sister, like stepmother, stepsister porn. And then
you're an expert on this, right?
Yeah, and then that turned into the whole family porn. So now they're watching like orgies and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they creep in on an orgy. This like dude walks in and just sort of does it with another dude, or some transgender will sort of like.
Did he just explain how he got into gay sex?
And this person like he can't satiate like what he wants. He wants double penetration. He wants oil. He wants dominatrix. He wants all the stuff, and he just needs anything that will get his dick off, really. And what this escalates to is homosexuality.
So can I just ask?
If all of that is done with consent, I don't see a problem.
Yeah, that was my question. Is he a legal consenting adult?
Yeah.
No. Asher said he snuck in, so it's obviously a transgender that's come through the window and is just interrupting.
Snuck in, and so just all of a sudden he gets addicted. Well, I guess even if he's
saying this is like a teenage boy.
So if he got snuck in and he got addicted to heterosexual porn and it just took over his life and he didn't do anything but watch heterosexual for the purposes of procreation porn, it would probably still be a bad thing.
No, he's sneaking in doing porn in his mother's house that he still lives in.
I understand what happened to you. I'm just changing the hypothetical here for like the analogy.
No, this is a very real thing.
Flex like that.
Flex like what? He is. I agree with Peter. He is explaining himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's already shared his sexual preferences, his browser history, his knowledge about porn sites. I mean, this isn't about a hypothetical guy because you know far too many details.
All right, here. How about this? Give a source to the kid that you're talking about.
Excuse me, human. You're gaslighting me, and it's not fair.
Mr. Azure, I just want to say, like, I really am trying to understand your perspective. Like, I just don't see how you can see that is what is proper. Do you not possibly think that there's possibly gaps in your understanding and your leaps of logic? Like, do you feel like that do you just disregard every kind of leap of logic? Because I feel like there's a lot of things you're assuming there. Like, I'm genuinely trying to understand you here. Like,
who are you talking to?
I'm seeing that you're saying these things.
Are you talking to me?
But how do you come to these conclusions?
Right.
Like, what is it about your perception of the world that gets you to this point? Why do you think this way?
Sorry, Cammy, are you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't finished with my story. So this escalated in homosexual degeneracy, and this person's gone from what they used to be, which was like a normal kid living their life, into girls at their school. And now they've seen so much. The girls at their school are not watching this stuff. you might say, "Oh, girls develop earlier and they watch it." No, they don't. Girls are into the emotional princess stuff, which is what the boys that are going homosexual are trying to take over. They're trying to take over the dreams of the hopes and dreams of girls to be picked up by their knight in shining armor.
I'm not a therapist. I don't have training for this.
Look after them.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't get out much, do you?
Oh my
The girls
God.
that want to be
I'm
picked
just-
up.
I mean, I know for a fact if I disagree with you, even in the slightest, you're gonna be like,
Freud says, okay, yes.
you're gonna be like, well, you're the one exception, and maybe you're the person. That's why you're on here, and you're not. But it's like, I know I'm making an argument that you haven't even made yet, but I feel like that's where it's gonna go because I do disagree.
Gaslighting to me.
I'm
And it's
curious.
not
Do
fair.
you really
Oh
think
my
that
God.
someone who is straight,
As someone
while walking a
someone
path
as a
and going
woman-
to orgies and then end up being gay, do you think that's a thing?
Peter, you don't know how good gay sex is. You just look
I,
at it once
I,
and just
I live with 2 women and I don't know how good gay sex is. Really?
Oh, I guess
Really?
that's true. That is true.
Really?
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, look to my corner here. I'm just telling you, it's a slippery slope. You go on the internet, you're looking at like it's really burly men just trying to put women in their place, and then it's a slippery slope.
I agree.
Basically, you being a sissy and enjoying men.
I agree. It was a slippery slope. I held one off for over a year because I thought that she was too young. And then when I said yes, now I've got 2. It is a slippery slope. It's leading to more and more depravity.
Yeah, so basically the pornography escalated. This person having a sneaky lifestyle around what was normal.
Is there a point?
It's distorted their reality and the way they relate to real girls their age and real women because they're looking at all these naked women. If you're like 17, 18, 19-year-old boy and you're looking at all there's woman naked men.
He's
You're
just
looking
gonna
at-
filibuster this whole time.
You're looking at other guys' penises all the time.
You know what he should do? He should go out more in real life and start dating people and having his own experiences instead of watching all this porn. Because first of all, it's a lot more fun if you do it yourself. And second of all, you might learn a thing or two.
I agree with some of what you just said.
Yeah.
I definitely think
As long as there's consent from both parties or
Yeah.
multiple parties.
Consent's good too. I agree with that too. Men should be doing their own experiences, not watching all the stuff on the internet.
No, not just men and women. Don't you think? You really think that there are no women that are watching porn? Really?
I'm not a woman. I'm not going to speak for all.
I
the
am.
women.
Porn is great. And listen, Asher, I just wanted to tell you, like, watching. So if somebody's straight and they're
Sorry,
watching,
are you a biological woman or a pretend woman?
I'm a biological woman.
Okay.
So anyway, I was. What was I saying now? Before that, like really.
You were talking about
interruption?
how porn is great. You were talking about how porn is
As
awesome.
opposed
No,
to
it was something
erotic
else.
woman.
Oh.
So anyway, yeah, a straight person watching porn that has a guy in it that might escalate to like them watching bisexual porn or something like that is not going to turn a straight man gay in the same way that a gay guy watching 2 women kiss isn't going to turn him straight. The sexuality doesn't work like that.
Duchess, do you know the
Okay.
Ron White skit?
Yeah. How do you know that, Duchess of Clutches?
Hold on,
Because
Duchess.
it's related to your sexuality. It's just literally what you look at and say, "Yep, I'm attracted to that," or "No, I don't like that." It's automatic.
I think there's a mental aspect of this where people get more deformed and degenerate in their mind.
Well, that's your opinion. I mean, you're entitled to your wrong
And they'll do
opinion.
anything. They just want to hump anything.
Well, can I ask you? Do you have any personal experience with this hypothesis?
No, you can't ask me that.
Okay.
That's a yes.
Your Honor.
Speaking from experience.
Yes.
You guys can laugh and do
That's
whatever
why I
you want.
brought up the Ron Wyatt skit.
It doesn't make you look any.
Hold on. Let me tell
Peter,
this real
let me
quick.
just interrupt you there, Peter. It doesn't
let me
make
tell-
you guys look. Hang on.
Let me tell
just
this.
jump in. Let me just jump in, Peter.
Asher,
It doesn't
let
mean
me,
you guys
let me tell this real quick.
Sorry.
This is
were you gonna go?
This is two guys
Are you
talking to
gonna
each
go?
other.
Hang
and-
on. Let me just jump in. Okay. So it doesn't make you guys look any smarter if you gaslight me and say, "Oh, he's just showing his gayness. Oh, this is him in the story and stuff like that." That's not fair.
We're
and
having
you know it.
fun. It's not gaslighting. We're just.
No, it seems like you're something. It's
You're
a
bullying
genuine
me.
interest for you.
You're bullying me.
Sounds very important in your life.
You're bullying me. I can't believe it.
I mean,
Cammy was saying that Cammy Sweetness was trying to say that they're trying to understand me, and now you're just all gaslighting me, putting me in a box, and just throwing me around like a toy. It's not funny.
Nobody
Okay,
said anything.
Hold on. I want to say something. Real quick. Asher, I feel that is very hypocritical that you have made statements this whole time about the state of other people, of how they're gay, and you tell them, this is wrong, this is what you're doing, this is how you became this way. You were just telling Miss Amy over here about how she's not actually a woman, and she's being she's a sissy, and you're just a man, and you're in disguise. And then now, when like enough people are saying, bro, why do you think this way? And you're not able to actually express that, and you feel like you're being gaslit and bombarded. I think that's just very
You're gaslighting me right now.
We're just mirroring your behavior.
Hold on. Do you agree with me on that? That seems a little hypocritical. Just, I want to throw that out there. Okay, he's muted, so I guess he kind of.
I don't agree with you.
Amy, stop waving that thing around. Sit down.
I can't help it. Just starts wagging sometimes.
I don't.
He's
Asher. Why do you
on camera?
get
I was
upset
dancing.
if people mirror your behavior? Why does that upset you?
What's your question for me?
I said, why are you getting upset if people mirror your behavior?
I don't understand the question.
You're gaslighting me.
I'm more interested in finding out like what Amy believes, what sports Amy thinks is would be wrong for men and women to compete in the same sport.
Yeah, let's get back on track.
Yeah, I really want to get back onto like what sport?
If we're gonna go in that direction, okay, I don't feel like Mr. Asher has kind of went deep enough to explain what the heck is going on. I just want to move forward from here. If you don't want to continue talking, Asher, I completely understand that. I can respect that boundary.
I like the phrasing. I like the phrasing.
I want to keep on talking.
Okay, but if we're gonna talk about another topic, are we gonna talk about that topic, or are we gonna come back to this conversation again? Because I don't want to get interrupted to come back to that.
Let's ask you, Cammy Sweetness. Do you believe that young men, but with their visual nature, can be influenced by porn to get increasingly more and more into it and addicted to it?
Of course they can.
No
one said they
I want to
can.
say, this is my answer. You asked me a question. I'm going to go and answer it. I think anybody can be more addicted to anything. And I do think that in this regard, men, generally speaking, and with a generalization of them having higher testosterone, I do think sexuality is something that is more prevalent day to day, right? I do think that there is patterns whenever you interview women versus interview men. I do think, however, you are exaggerating in every field of how much men masturbate, how much men watch porn, how little women watch porn. I think that there is a much smoother curve across the grid than what you're experiencing, because I don't want to disvalue everything you're saying, right? I think that when you exaggerate it to that point, I think, yes, it can get to a point where it's like, I almost practically disagree with you, but there's truth to what you're saying, right? There is truth that you can go too far, when you're starting to feel like, dang, man, like, now I'm into this fucked up shit. Like, yeah, anybody can do that. Women can do that too. It's less likely, but women can still do that too. And I don't want to disvalue that, but I do want to say that the problem with this is an issue with society, poor care of mental health. I think, in my opinion, you can ask me more about it if you want to know more about it, or you think I'm wrong, you can talk about it. Right. But I think it's separate from the issue of being trans. I think trans and sexuality, they can be interconnected, where they have things that cross over each other, but I do not think they are the same. And I think you think they're the same, and that's why I've asked you why you think that, because I disagree with you on that, and I was open to a conversation where we could see where we can be productive, why that is. But now I'm almost going to bed. I don't know if we'll have time.
Okay, well, I can agree with you. There is an issue with being trans. Those are your words. But besides
how do you get that from what she just
said? From that, you just said a whole bunch of words that have no meaning.
Absolutely no meaning.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry that you have perceived that from me. I've tried my best to communicate clearly, but apparently I have failed, or there was a miscommunication.
Look, I'm not looking for you. It's the things you're talking about. And username Amy Newman said about 20 minutes ago that he used to sell sex to men. What do you think pornography is doing?
It's selling sex to men and women, whatever their market is. It's not, everything can be abused if not used in moderation. It's like anything, right? Do it in moderation and you're good.
Yeah, Amy might have a preference as to why she sold more to men than to women. I know if I was a prostitute, I would definitely sell to only women, because man, that's a whole other field. I would not feel safe doing that with men. I would only do it with women.
And so I could have, I was open, I'll say, to men, women, and both. But I think that it should be legalized. That way that prostitutes are able to go to the police and report anyone that hurts them. And then we can
During that time of your life, Amy, did you feel very dirty?
No.
What would that have contributed to if she said yes? If you don't mind me asking, Daniel and or Danielle. I don't know how to pronounce it. You never told me.
It's Daniel. Thank you.
Sounds good. I'll call you Daniel.
But yeah, I just think that kind of degenerate behavior is going to have a pretty lasting consequence on your life in the long term. I think it might have contributed to the way Amy is at the moment.
Tell me why. Everybody keeps saying statements. Why? Tell me your reasoning why you came to this belief. Because you just keep saying statements over and over. It's not helping.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to stay
really a statement. Degenerate behavior is degenerate behavior. I mean, you can't change that.
Well, that's true. However, we just disagree on what's degenerate behavior. You see, I view kindness, fairness, and equality as good things. And I view people who are mean to others, who have in-group and out-group, and who generally are just bad human beings to other human beings.
Why is trying to save your eternal soul?
It's degenerate. I'm sorry, I forgot the end point of that. I view that as degenerate.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
It was talking about something we don't have, something that doesn't exist, an eternal soul. We know that doesn't exist.
Indeed.
Or if you do believe it excuse me. If you do believe it exists, then talk about that. Let's have a conversation about that. You're just throwing sentences up there, my guy.
You mean your beloved?
I could do the exact same thing. I could be I think Christianity is degenerate, and I think whenever you pray to a sky daddy, that seems pretty degenerate. Fetish. I could degenerate anything. You know what I mean?
So we do degenerate is talking about what is life giving and what is speaking death or giving death to people, right?
Actually,
do we agree on that?
No, I would say that it is about what degrades culture. And so if I think that religion
What about
is
culture?
bad, yes, it is a
It's
yes,
the
it is.
individual.
Well,
it's about the individual.
If it's about, yeah, well, sure, it's about the individual. I believe that if you're doing degenerate actions like spreading religion, if you are being unkind or even spreading superstition or misinformation, degenerate.
I think you're being unkind to women by pretending to be one.
Okay, I think when you say that, you don't actually give about women.
Yeah,
And also,
I don't echo that sentiment. I don't.
Because,
like other
honestly,
women here, ask them, like, do you think, are you asking us or are you just making a statement? Because, I mean, both of the women in this chat don't agree with that. So, like, you know.
there's some that is actually really alarming as well. The fact that there are women who think that's okay. I'm really sorry for those.
You welcome men into your safe spaces. Like,
I
imagine
don't.
Amy Newman in the toilet while you were trying to do something.
Do you imagine that?
How
often?
terrifying.
Oh, it
I mean,
absolutely is.
she
That
would
is a
be peeing.
demon.
She would be peeing. She would be shitting. Why are you thinking of that?
Women's.
Why are you
I don't know
bringing
if
it
you've
up?
ever been in one. Women's bathrooms are like have stalls each.
Yeah, that's a
individually.
woman's space, and Amy Newman is a man.
I was gonna say they're also definitely not any cleaner than the male's bathroom, and so good luck with that being like your prize. Though
Oh my god, I just feel like my brain is melting and deteriorating. The more this conversation's going on, it feels like we're not going anywhere.
Amen to that.
That was okay. Well, I'm just sending love out there, and yeah.
How do you send love? That sounds like fake love. Just like you're a fake woman.
All right, bro.
Does it like when people come on Discord and do that to trans people? Like when you say that, do you feel like yes, I own you? Tell someone go make me a sandwich.
I think username Amy Newman can take it. Username Amy Newman has already taken it a number of times.
No, I'm not asking about her perception of it. That's great if she's lets it roll off her back. That's great. I'm asking like what you feel when you do that.
Well, I'm sure he's had many things rolling off his back.
That's a good one.
Bro.
Do you mean come?
You pulled
that
the Ben
what-
Shapiro.
I couldn't tell what you meant there. It was very cryptic.
I'm here. Is there anything else you guys wanted to ask me? I've got like 5 minutes on this show.
Is it true that all of your ancestors were prisoners? Because it sounds like it from the way you talk.
How sorry? What about my voice makes me sound like my ancestors were prisoners?
Oh, it's just the general low quality of your intellect and roughness of the things you say to people for no reason.
Yeah,
He's not
a Nazi. He's a Kiwi.
I think we're just different because I don't value intellect the way you do. Like being intellectual, being racist, like none of that. I don't care about any of that.
Well, being racist is not intellectual.
Criminal is. If I was always called
construct,
stupid and a racist, I would feel the same way too. I mean, you got your own skin you've built. But I just wonder why you come into random people and insult them for no reason. It just seems pretty sad.
Well, it's not for no reason. Does that answer your question? I think username Amy Newman can take what I'm putting down, and I hope it's thought-provoking.
I think username Asher Beloved wants Amy really bad.
I would just put out there Asher as well. You're.
I want Amy. I want Amy good.
I thought you were just saying that you didn't value introspectiveness and intelligence and thoughtfulness, but you just said that was thought provoking. Do you actually want other people to hear what you have to say?
The thoughts I want provoked are natural thoughts, not intellectual imagination stuff. And I see username Amy Newman as a charismatic leader of this group chat. And I'd like to see the leader brought down to humility and return to the way that God had made username Amy Newman, which was it, as the Son of God, loved, made in His image, for His will.
I just want to send love to James W.
That doesn't make
co-host.
sense even.
I feel like we really do it together.
Honor thoughts that are quote
All
unquote
of you out
natural,
there,
but not
community.
intellectual, like illusion, if you will. Wouldn't you have to be very understanding of both to know what's from what, and like to understand what the hell?
What kind of thoughts aren't in the
Specifically to a kink party.
You don't have to jump off the cliff and know it'll kill you. You don't have to jump off a cliff and it'll kill you. An Arctic fox will go kilometers over an ice-frozen lake to find its kill. That's its nature.
You mean instinct, nature, instinct, that kind of stuff?
So people like this want to quote want to quote science, like to make religious arguments, but you don't actually believe in science, so you can't really fall back on that one. And secondly, we are not animals. Like, we're descendants of animals, yes, but we're human beings with very complex social and individual systems.
I love you. I really do.
/ creepy.
I have a question. It's like, why are we using religion as such a variety of topics here? You're using religion too much to describe like a society. Like me personally, I'm an atheist, and I'm not entirely for transgender. I have my different views on that. But to blame and to kind of diss in a way of transgender and part of that, and put it off on religion by saying that God interpreted people to be like that, in my way, that comes off as ignorant. Because like, what was that?
I said
I'm asking you. I'm sorry. I'm asking you.
Who asked? Who asked you?
It's Amber. I'm just asking. I'm sorry. I just want to know your take on it. Why is religion being used so much into a society standpoint?
Well, it might be the case. It might not be the case. But it sounds like you all have a severe case of ligma.
Oh my god!
What is that? What is that? Explain it.
Wow.
Explain that joke.
Are we going back?
No, I get it. I just wanted.
Are we
to
going
force
back
him
to
explain
like
it.
some sort of bug makes us gay?
What?
Yeah, you've got parasites up your ass, Amy, and that's why you're a faggot.
Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Like, they basically, what happens is they suck a big D, and then they go home, and they're like, oh, God, come on. Something had to make me do that. It couldn't just be that I really love D. And so here we are.
You know? That's like a whole other level of, like, coping.
It really is.
Yeah, pretty crazy when you're just, like, explicitly homophobic and then claiming that, oh, you just want to provoke thoughts in other people.
Bro, you know what?
Thank you,
so
bro. Like, there's only one person in here who's like super like pushy about religious stuff. You guys want to just talk about like gay sex and shit?
It's
like all the
it's on everybody's mind.
You want to talk about all the demonic gay sex shit that everybody keeps telling us that we're having? Because I mean, all the stuff they've been saying, like they were like, you have this is bad. You have this. Like, I mean, that sounds kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
Amy, I have a question for you. You're part of the LGBTQ, correct?
I am. I'm like 3 out of 5 of those letters.
So, what are your views on allowing kids for drag shows and hormone blockers? For this instance, can we use the age of 10 and below?
So wait, there's 2 different questions. What do I think about Drag Queen Story Hour? It's fantastic. We should be teaching children how to read. That's kind of like something that I wish happened more.
No.
What about making sexual remarks to children? Is that okay?
That wasn't my question. I'm sorry about the Drag Queen Story Hour.
Talking about having a big meat, something like that. Would that be okay?
So there's actually
you can find video of people doing that.
Okay, you can go to Hooters and you can go to watch like children like right in front of giant boobs. So anyone
You're okay with it. You endorse it.
or no, I don't think that we should.
Well, then why are you talking about Hooters?
Because it doesn't matter. Because that's a heterosexual.
Well, if it doesn't matter, well, I agree that Hooters is inappropriate for children. I'm not the one.
Why are we bringing up?
I'm not the one categorically. I'm not the one categorically defending drag time story hour.
Well, exactly.
I wasn't talking about drag time story.
Do you think that teaching kids how to read and big boobs and wings are the same thing?
But
no, what I do think is that drag time story hour includes inoffensive and completely appropriate things like just teaching kids how to read and like showing people in gender non-conforming clothing, all of which I endorse. But I think it also includes instances of people, drag performers, not editing their acts or their personalities to be age appropriate for child audiences. Sometimes, like some percentage of the time. And the complete inability of people on the left to like acknowledge that there are those instances and that they're objectionable and that they shouldn't happen is really concerning to me, because I disagree with the right wingers that, you know, drag time story hour is just evil. You shouldn't show men in drag, or, you know, like anyone in these, you know, like big, you know, makeup and, you know, like big flashy clothing. I disagree with that. But when the other people on my side are like, no, it's all good. It's all good. If you ever talk about edge cases or anything, then you're homophobic or whatever. It would just be nice if we could all say, yeah, those cases of like being age inappropriate are bad and those shouldn't happen. I don't know why it's like pulling teeth.
I can agree with that. I can agree with
that. Should be an easy dub to just put in the win column.
I guess maybe it's because I'm a centrist or a liberal with some conservative values, but we can all just agree we should not promote the sexualization of children.
Okay, I'm glad you finally agreed to that.
To further this point a little bit too,
drag queen story hour.
Conservatives never cared about kids before all this drag queen stuff came up. Anyway, they cared a lot about like. I was talking.
Are you trying to tell me that fucking conservatives don't care about
never
kids?
cared about kids before this issue came up. They cared a lot about drag queens and a lot about LGBT
if you want to talk
people.
about conservatives
However,
that stupid, then I'll fucking mute you.
Okay, go ahead. In any case,
You don't start a sentence. You don't start a sentence.
Are
with
you
all
like allergic
conservatives.
to women talking? Are you
No,
okay?
I'm allergic to people.
No. Are you okay? Because I haven't actually finished. As soon as I started talking, you
Maybe you want to start that
up.
sentence again.
So I'll finish it.
a question to Amy that I
As
originally
soon
was
as the kids became involved, the conservatives were clutching their pearls, and it's like, oh, think of the children. Meanwhile, you've got your fucking whatever Texas children pageants going on. You've got Hooters, little boys going to Hooters like it's a funny thing. All sexualization of children is bad, and I don't even agree with Drag Queen Story Hour. I think drag is inherently sexual, and I don't think it has a place around kids. But this isn't the issue conservatives care about.
Yeah,
the question.
I agree with
was,
everything
though,
except
I
that
was-
drag is inherently sexual, because I think non-conforming performances like men dressing in what are stereotypically women's clothing, women dressing in what is stereotypically men's clothing, or having like a mismatch, or like challenging social norms around like what you're supposed to wear. I think it's super beneficial for kids to see that at an early age.
I don't think it's necessary, and I think
I don't
there's
know
better
that
ways.
it's necessary. I just think it's beneficial. So I
don't
might
agree
quibble
with-
with when you said necessary there, but I do think it is beneficial.
I like
I don't
democratic
agree with over
socialism,
sexualization.
which isn't covered.
That's the
I don't agree with.
No,
kids.
I mean, I think we're all aligned that the
Thank you so
sexualization
much,
component
love.
is
$5
super
in the chat.
objectionable
well,
and bad.
that's kind of like 99% of it, though.
Yeah, that's why I said the only thing that I would disagree with in what she said was that drag is necessarily sexual. And I was trying to point out like cases where I think it's not sexual and instead has this other kind of subversive, challenging component for kind of social like gender roles that I think is really beneficial for young people to see early.
And it's
To see
also,
early on.
I don't believe early. I don't believe that necessarily being early. The thing is I don't believe that kids should be let into drag shows. That was my main question. There was actually a debate that I had, and people were actually promoting that kids were to be into these drag shows, and even a news station was promoting this drag show for kids. That's what I was asking Amy if she believes that kids should be allowed into these drag shows.
Why Amy? Why not me too?
Yeah, and if it's a drag show for kids, which I think is an oxymoron, then maybe.
But I also
not all drag shows are sexual. Some of them are just like Masked Singer kind of thing. You just like dress up as Britney Spears and perform. I think if you would take your kid to see Britney Spears, taking like them to see a Britney Spears impersonator who happens to be male, I think that's fine. I think
I would agree with that.
As long as the dancing isn't too suggestive, and as long as the clothing isn't too exposing, right? As long as the lyrics are as long as all of that stuff's age appropriate, the drag component aspect, I think is irrelevant. All that matters is
but to debate that though, that's kind of putting it on such a varied topic, because this event that they were promoting on the news station, they actually had video proof of people sneaking inside, and it was just the opposite of what you said. It was revealing, and it was very sexual as well, and that was what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, they should be transparent around what the content is, and it should be really clear. No one should be surprised about what age it's tailored for, and that's something that these shows need to improve, or at least some of these shows need to improve.
But also, I've never seen a drag.
About all the cases.
I've never seen a drag show that's not been sexual or sexual in nature. Drag queens inherently, I think, obviously, in my opinion, are just inherently sexual.
Well,
have you ever watched like
Drag Race? Is basically almost
it's pretty sexual.
It is sexual. I just don't think it's inherently sexual. To cross-dress, I wouldn't necessarily put that in the section.
Was Mrs. Doubtfire inherently sexual?
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Was white chicks sexual?
There were a couple.
Is Kabuki sexual? I mean, come on.
Okay, white chicks was severely sexual. Did we go back to the blowjob scene before there were the practicing?
But that was a funny ass movie.
Yeah, but stay in your parents' bedroom, man.
We can all agree that Die Hard was a really
or we can just look. Can we just say this? A guy dressed like a woman is funny.
Many cooks
Hurting out. Is that what we want? A woman is funny.
No, that's not what we want. That's why you should be quiet.
So, could I get the next viewpoint of allowing kids to transition? And when I mean transition,
I would like to comment on this. I would like to comment on this.
Yeah, okay, but when I mean transition, I'm not entirely talking about cross-dressing. I don't believe that a child. No, I'm just stating my viewpoint. I don't believe that a child should be forced. If a child wants to wear clothes of his choice, then he should be allowed, or she should be allowed in this case. But I don't necessarily believe that kids under any, I would even put 16, should be allowed to transition, meaning the use of hormone blockers and etc. of that sort.
Before we move on to that, can we agree that Britney Spears probably wasn't the best example to cite, since that's basically what she smells like?
Oh, what, the crazy ball
trick? Actually, no. Britney Spears is a perfect one for drag, and I think everybody does her.
Raped? She did. Did she have like a sexual past with? I don't fully remember. But
let's not bother about her or your mama. Let's just say that
life beat Britney Spears up. Let's just go with that.
I dare you to pick any single video and try to argue that it's not sexualized.
Oh yeah, she's definitely showing her ass and everything and twerking.
Yeah.
Also,
and you can also watch people drink.
Abused by her agents and many other accounting systems. That
I don't give a fuck about Britney Spears. I don't give a fuck about adults. We're talking about kids.
Can we actually? I want to go back to what someone said earlier, which is that this is basically a narrative that's pushed forward by a specific side. I have conservative values, but what happened is that gay marriage got accepted, transgenders got in the military, and now they are fudged because they are like, listen, we can't say we're anti-gay, we can't say, if you're an adult and you're trans, we can't even say that's bad anymore. And so they're like, what the do we do now? It's degenerate unless you come from a background trying to reclaim it.
Well, it's to pedophile.
I don't believe that transgender should be allowed in the military. That's a high view that I have.
I disagree.
Amy, that really explains that explains the high rate of people talking about pedophiles because that's what they're relegated to talk about pedophiles. It's no different than a pedophile. They say you're the same as a pedophile.
Well, that's an old.
I'm sorry, you're thinking of religious institutions. They not only have pedophiles, they actually pass them around. I think, as I was saying earlier, like gumballs.
Yeah, I know, but the irony's lost on them though. What they want is their anger word.
Well, it's a really old.
Because they're sounding like you're from Europe.
It's a really old insult against like LGBTQ people that they're pedophiles. That goes
but that's all that's
way
left
back.
now because the
Yeah,
rest
where did it originate from?
It's when you say
all you
that's
left
all
was the
that's
P
left.
word and the N word. All you got left now is the P word and the N word.
I don't know what you mean.
Living under a fucking.
I also want to finish this point.
I don't understand this. There's still tons of homophobia
Can we let them finish
in the
the
world.
point first, so we can like debate this afterwards? Can we just let them, to be fair, because they've been respectful towards us.
Yeah, we'll let them talk. Calm down.
Yeah, okay, not the dog pile time just
And
yet. Go
so
ahead.
what happens? These drag time story hours, they are basically almost all of them in like a San Francisco or an affluent, rich, well-off, highly educated neighborhoods. And what happens is 99% of children do not have drag queen story hour, if not a higher percentage. And so they use this to attack us when we should actually be teaching kids how to read. It would be my point.
We should make it 100%.
Reading, education, literacy. I agree. We'll try to get there.
Well, put it this way: if they had a fund to put drag queen into schools, I would vote against it. Put it that way.
Yes, I would
I don't have
agree.
anything against drag queen.
I don't believe that.
I'm really curious.
Kind of
In Europe, you have drag shows where the drag queens are from 9 years up. They are especially for kids. The drag queens are kids, and there are some famous ones.
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry. I'm a little caught off guard. Are you saying that drag queens of all age
I
are
turned
in?
my volume
You said
up,
Europe.
guys.
I'm sorry.
Tell me if that's better. or
In Europe,
worse.
there's a famous one that made a newspaper in the Netherlands quite recently. He's a 9-year-old boy, and he's a very famous famous drag queen in his own country. There's nothing wrong with the boy. He's growing up really good.
Where was the
no
country?
problems.
But that's kind of like
from the
adults,
UK.
not children.
He was from the UK.
Yeah,
Look,
the thing
I
is,
want to
like,
put a big vagina and a big tits on this and walk it around with a sequin scoot. No, if they want to dress up, like
who's
fucking
now
their famous-
sexualizing
It's bullshit.
children?
It's fucking bullshit
Who's
to be
now-
teaching
hold on,
kids
who's-
adult
who's
ideas.
now-
Okay,
who's
Story.
now
They almost zoned
immediately
out,
going to
and then all of a
pedophile
sudden you're
ideas?
just like,
All right. Can we just calm the fuck
sexual
down?
vaginas.
Relax.
It's all
I
about
don't think
vaginas.
Amy was making their
Do you-
point, though.
Do you realize
be
that
honest.
humans are extreme?
You're the one immediately sexualizing a 9-year-old
Yes, of
boy,
course.
and you want to put a vagina on it. That's
Okay,
what you
I'm
wanna
talking.
do?
I'm talking. Am I talking or not? Are you
Amy
talking
was
about
talking
what I'm trying to
first.
say?
I'm just curious. I'm just curious why
Okay,
you're
cool. Look, we just calm the
sexualizing
fuck
children.
down. Like we're getting heated for no reason.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Just
Amy was
relax.
talking too. It's just trying to be respectful here because this was originally like just a quick question.
First of all, Amy can talk. I don't want to hear anybody interrupt her. Or you're gonna
Amy,
get
by the
fucking
way, your
muted.
mic is pretty low.
oh, thank you. Does it sound a little bit higher now?
It's a little
Yeah.
better.
Fucking
That's better.
cunt is that needed to talk.
What?
9-year-old drag kid. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, they weren't even.
I mean, it got you excited because you
Get the fuck outta
immediately
here.
sexualized
Piqued your
this 9-year-old
curiosity.
kid.
Well, okay. Let's
You
just go to
immediately
all
got
the weird
into
stuff in the world.
fantasy.
Why don't we
need
talk
to
about all
put
the
a
weird
vagina
stuff for
on
this
him.
guy? Because apparently it's
Nice
not weird
crap.
enough
Fuck
for him
that
yet.
shit.
All right, let's just let it go. Just let the shit go.
Amy wants to talk. Amy wants to talk.
I guess that would be the main thrust is that they don't actually. I wish that they cared about women and children. I always say that if you are really selling yourself as pro-family, that's fantastic. However, if you're against this family and this family and this family, you're not actually pro-family. You're pro your family and not someone else's.
That's the way the world works. Yeah.
I
Nothing
disagree.
burger.
I'm
That's a
pro-
nothing burger response.
Wolf, who doesn't like a little Canadian on UK violence? I mean, come on, man.
I don't know. Are Canadians sort of like the bitches of the UK still? Like that's like an unwritten law, right?
Canadians are the ones with the ability to do work.
And they cried when the Queen died.
British are the ones with the ability to do tea.
The Queen was such a piece of shit.
I was gonna.
Yeah, she was a bitch.
If we can move past
Fuck royalty.
If we can move past the drag, I was going to comment on the second question you had about kids transitioning because I've actually looked into a lot of it.
Before you do that, I just want to put into the record that I am going to be on for like 30 more minutes, and then I'm probably going to go make myself food and pass out. But it's been a lovely conversation. But right back over to you, Cammy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that whenever we're talking about transition for kids, people get in a rise about this. And I think it's very, very important.
Whoopsie, that's the
it is
StreamYard.
understood
No one joined that.
That there is stages to it. And the reason there's stages to it is because a lot of it is reversible. Like, whenever you're talking about going on hormone blockers, all you're doing, again, just taking spironolactone for a suggestion here, it just blocks the androgens in your body. So it blocks the production of testosterone. So that, if you ever go off of spironolactone, whatever functions you were going to have as a normal pubescent person, you will have them. Even up until, like, if you just were on blockers up until you were like 16, and then you're like, you know what, this ain't me, man, I'm going to change it. And you went off, you would be just totally normal. You'd have totally normal puberty.
Well, how long would it take you to catch up? Like, wouldn't you be set back like 4 years of development or something? Someone's just talking.
But hold on, isn't the point that the dangers of the physical, whether you can redo it or whatever, this
it's not that
holding off. Isn't it balanced against the actual mental state of the patient that if you
I
don't
agree.
do
That
something
is
for
what
this person,
I agree.
Yeah. So this is not oh, can it be reversible? Is this person like that's what Hugs always says? No, okay, I'm sorry you didn't finish, but my buddy keep telling me it's measured against suicide, not measured against can I reverse?
Well, what I was trying to say was whenever you are measuring this, like in terms of well-being, then I mean, if your kid is saying they're trans and they genuinely believe it, and they whether they're correct or not, and they're still figuring it out or whatever, if you get to a point where you do go through puberty, right? And I mean, if you get to know that you're trans before you go through puberty, you're the luckiest son of a bitch. Because if you learn that after puberty, there is so much pain, suffering, and work that you have to go through to get so much fixed that could have been resolved, like just electrolysis, top surgery, like, you know, everything except for like bottom surgery is taken care of if you get on hormones early enough. That's why it's
you're gonna get fucked.
Hey, this is something. But like, it's just so many things. Like, and here's the thing: they're all super like freaking expensive and so out of your reach, and that's why it's so implemented. Like, hey, let's go on blockers and see if you know. Let's go ahead. Like, hey, if this is how you're feeling, and the kid wants to do it, and they're like, I want to go on blockers. I don't know how I feel yet. Blockers are totally fine. And why I was saying it was reversible is because there's like practically no risk. There's no risk at all unless you go on it forever and ever and ever. Like until, I mean, like after like 18, yeah, maybe you might have some issues. But even then, even if you go off of it then, like the issues are minimal. And like even then, when you're talking about transitioning, it's like it's progressive. That's why I was saying like hormones is a different thing, because when you go on hormones, the things that are not reversible on that is like you get a lot of changes. A lot of those are reversible, but the only like there was some like the breast development and sterilization. Those things are kind of non-reversible, right? So if whatever damage is done. So like those things are more, yeah, there's like risk to them. That's why you don't usually go on them until you're, you know, fairly certain. That's why you have therapy, and you don't just throw a kid on them. You have to go through years of therapy and get sometimes several letters, depending on what state you are in, to go ahead and minimum one letter, but probably several, depending on what state or country you're in. And you have to do it for years in order to have a psych evaluation with somebody who's a trained professional. and is like actually having conversations with the kid and being like, why do you feel this way? How do you feel this way? Like, what in yourself do you feel? Like, it's a long process. It's not just something you're going to hop on. But again, for little kids, when you're not going through puberty, it's mostly just clothes and social treatment.
And that's, I can agree with some of the cross-dressing. I believe fashion's for everything, but what I don't agree is allowing these kids that are going through puberty. Puberty is the growth of the body and the mind. You're not even fully maturing. A 13-year-old woman or female is going through puberty, and let's say they want to transition, or vice versa.
Just accepting
that,
who I was.
That the hormone blockers are blocking the growth. That's, in my opinion, not even fully mature. Even a male doesn't fully mature until 23, and then we're allowing kids to stop the growth of maturing. That's just something that I can't.
Do you know that children know their sexual orientation anywhere between 8 and 12? That's where most children will figure out what their sexual orientation is.
Are you talking to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, and actually, a child can actually begin to know that they're a boy or girl at the age of 3 as well. But that also can be contradicted because a child's personality conscience doesn't fully develop.
I wasn't saying about boy or girl. I was saying their sexual orientation. They know their sexual orientation anywhere between, I think it was 8 and 13 or 14.
So you're telling me that a 13-year-old boy can fully know for the rest of his life that he's always going to be a girl, or is he
he's always going to be gay or not gay? So
that's sexual orientation, not gender. But
if you think about that, the same thing could be said for gender. I haven't seen the studies yet, but it wouldn't surprise me that if those figures are going to be the same, it wouldn't surprise me.
Not.
Yeah, I think we should lower the age of consent to like 11 or 12. That's a great idea.
Dude, come on, we gotta stop sexualizing minors here. But the thing is that that's actually
hey, for TOS, we definitely should.
That was done. I can look to the link. I'm not at my computer right now, but there was a link that showed the suicide rates for teens that did go through with these. I guess I don't want to say hormone blockers, but we'll just say this type of transition. Actually, the suicide rates did peak a little, and that is where it sparks my interest, because that will then show that the maturity.
What are suicide rates of those who are suppressed?
Well, it was actually lower. That's actually was another thing is that when these companies that did do the rates did find that the suicide rates did go up after transitioning of age, meaning something that was like, for example, I think it was 20 to 30 is when the study took place, and they actually saw a peak.
Because I've seen studies that say the opposite. These are transitions done with medical care. So there's multiple doctors involved. And studies show that if you restrict a child from getting this pre-care, they're highly more likely to commit suicide. The number one thing you can do for a trans child to prevent suicide is recognize their identity.
Exactly.
The suicide rate doesn't change.
Before we compare the numbers, before we compare the numbers, isn't it? Don't they wait until like 16 before they start putting them on puberty blockers anyway?
No, there was actually an instance of a 13-year-old being put on them.
Yeah, you got to get on blockers kind of early before you start getting, your hormones for whichever one. And that's actually what I was going to tell you really quick. It doesn't necessarily hinder when you're talking about growth. It doesn't necessarily hinder your growth per se. It just hinders development of secondary sexual characteristics. So, like if you're a dude, if you have a male body, and you get on hormone blockers, you're still going to get tall. How tall, it's debatable, but you're still going to grow. You're just going to still develop. You just might not grow muscle, or, you might not grow
so much voodoo.
Hair. You might not grow hair, facial hair, body hair.
Voodoo girl.
You will not develop if you are blocking it. It's natural.
You will not
that's with low testosterone.
You're talking voodoo for mental illness. You're not talking voodoo for fucking.
I prefer necromancy. I'm just going to throw it out there when you actually bring the dead back to life. as if we're just claiming superpowers, but we can.
Yes.
I was just gonna say that, like, you can. Here's the thing: you can still develop those the moment you come off blockers. It's not a permanent removal
So
thing.
you say,
I'm sorry.
genius.
It's
Like,
just
as if
she's
you're
not
trusting
going to
people
be
who are telling
mean
you this
back
because
to
you
them.
like that
Not
narrative.
saying
That's no
I'm
different
mean,
than wanting
but I at
Jesus
least
to be
need to give.
What are you doing in the background, Dangels? What are you doing?
Well, I'm just saying this person is assuming that you can just reverse this stuff as if we're fucking Lego. We're not Lego, all
I
right?
kind of
Time
agree with
lost
that.
day by
I kind of
day.
agree with that. Testosterone is a very huge thing in the male's body. For even down to growth, and sometimes that having low testosterone can create multiple issues, such as even down to heart issues that even popular. Like my dad actually has very low testosterone as a male. His was down below. I think it was actually numbers over 13 was a level. He was under 20% of a normal woman, female. And his issues includes high risk of cancer, high risk of heart failure, high risk of seizures. And this is what low testosterone is doing. So if we're allowing these teens to low kids to access these unquote testosterone blockers, then these problems can definitely develop. And even the treatment for testosterone can even be a form of a steroid, which even creates more issues, such as a different form of
They are
cancer.
so in the
And so when you
closet,
say
they
that
can
these
fucking see
that these
Narnia.
testosterone can be reversed, it can't always be reversed and can have severe issues later on in life. And that's when the maturity state comes into mind. Because what if a kid regrets this? What if someone's
forget
that's
about later. Forget about later.
Because I guarantee you the number of people affected by what you're scaremongering here is vastly reduced, vastly smaller. You're scaremongering.
No,
You're
that's not
scaremongering.
scaremongering. I'm speaking from experience. Are you saying that? Are you saying speaking from experience is scaremongering? I have
I'm saying talking
you
about.
have a sample
I'm saying
size of
talking about
one
very
case.
rare side effects of treatments that help
It's
many,
not a
many
very
people
rare side
survive.
effect.
If you think
It is a rare side effect.
blockers,
it is not.
You think doctors are creating treatment profiles which hurt kids? Is that your assertion here?
No,
you're saying doctors are aware
overall
of the things
betterment.
that you heard.
Excuse me. It's not Lego. It's not Lego.
I want to
The thing is,
clarify.
they're balancing it against their mental state of what they feel they're going to do as an animal. They say, "Look, I don't feel. I have dysphoria. I have this.
You've got a sample size of one case.
You gotta find the
relevant?
balance, bitch.
Yes,
I was
balance.
talking. I would like to finish the thought that I was still going on.
Well,
I was
balance
here,
off
Jesse,
fact
in the
that
back
they're
of my
changing
head.
the physical,
When
which
someone
could
says
have
bitch
negative
now,
repercussions. That they're balancing against the mental. Okay, it's not just physical.
I agree with that.
If their mental,
Just looking at
is like,
Heisenberg
hey,
going,
I'm a woman, and having a male body is gonna absolutely destroy like my life and how I feel about it. Like going
Exactly.
back, if you go through puberty, here's the thing. I agree with you.
Yeah.
That going through the wrong puberty can really fuck up somebody. Period.
But
okay,
so
here's the
you're
thing.
agreeing
I
with
think it
that.
fucks up everybody, but they like to
It
fuck up.
does.
I wouldn't want a tattoo. If I woke up with a tattoo, I'd be fucking pissed. Okay. I don't want a fucking tattoo. Don't give me a fucking tattoo. All right.
Can
You
you
guys
let
are
her
You like a
finish?
tattoo,
Can
and
you
you
let
want
her
poison in
finish?
your fucking
Hold on.
body.
Can you let her
I'm just
finish?
I
She's in
think
the
it
middle
is,
of
but
a
the
sentence.
point.
You Salzburg and I mean, we have to deal with one person.
I don't
almost
need
at a
extra mods in here. One mod's enough. One
Can
loud.
you let
Can we
Cammy
get Amy's
finish?
opinion on this?
No,
After
I'm
she
not going.
let
I'm going to
Cammy
give your ass.
finish?
If you fucking interrupt me one more time, Peter, I'm going to fucking mute you. Shut up.
Well, you can mute me. Are you going to let
Well,
Cammy finish?
then I won't have to fucking spend my time with your dumb ass. Okay.
After we get
angry.
what's their name? Cammy's can
Chrome does the same thing. There's other people that fucking try to look. There's other people that try to mod. One mod is enough. All right. That's all I'm saying. Dumbass.
Are we hurting your fifis?
No, I'm saying
Amy,
I don't need
if
you
you
to
give your opinions
when I'm
after
talking.
this.
Jesus Christ.
Well, stop talking when Cammy's talking.
I'll leave my last point. I'll leave my last point since you shit all over it, Peter.
That'll help if you
Bro,
just let Cammy finish.
Okay.
You interrupted Cammy. You interrupted Cammy, and now you're whining that
I don't
people
give
are
a fuck. Who the
interrupting
fuck
you.
are you?
I
Who the
will
fuck
keep
are you?
interrupting
Hey,
you.
who the fuck are you?
Goodbye, Peter.
Who the fuck
is
are
that
you?
from? What movie is that
You
from?
should get used to this fuckhead.
What movie is that from?
He's $5. It's a show.
but I'm sending love
Cammy,
to everybody.
Go
out
ahead.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Who the fuck are you?
I was just saying that whenever we're talking about the gap for blockers, okay, those are whenever you're talking about long-term results. When your dad has testosterone, it's because he's done it for years and years on end, and he hasn't gotten any primary hormone. And you do need a primary hormone. That's where people get all this, like, I know he was saying fear-mongering, and you were saying that you're not having fear-mongering, but the fear-mongering around this topic is because the results are looking long-term when you don't have a primary sex hormone. Whenever you are talking about kids trying to figure out what they feel, that's what this is for. Whenever they don't know how they feel, they're not sure, blockers are a great way to be able to give them some space and time to figure it out. And no, you're not, that's true, you're not going to know everything whenever you're a kid. You know, you can get it wrong. Yes, that happens. It's rare, but it does happen. In my opinion, it's rare. You say there's different evidence. I mean, I'd be willing to look at that. But from what I've seen, from the statistics I've seen, it is rare. And whenever it does happen, the thing is it's like, well, you're trying your best here. Like, but the thing is that if you have a kid who's trans and they go through puberty at age 15, 16, whatever, you know, up till 18, there's so many permanent things that you have to do. And I just, to name a few, like I was saying before, like electrolysis to remove facial hair, laser hair removal to remove body hair, you know, top surgery, bottom surgery. You have to get like, sometimes you have to get implants if you can't, you know, move fat around enough or hormones don't do enough. You have the lower voice, which is near impossible to get training for. Your face has to get fixed, and all these surgeries cost like upwards of $80,000, $20,000 a pop. It's like, it's near impossible. So getting a kid on hormones, and whenever they should be going through puberty, and they feel that there's a puberty that fits them better, it's better to try that and then be like, well, shit, that's wrong, and then try to backtrack. But if there's an inclination that they have a feeling of who they are, and you go down that road, you can save them a lot of fucking stress and time.
But
there's I don't think there's a better way to go about that than to listen to them when they're saying they're distressed and they don't want to go through this puberty.
But then there's a time to be a friend, and then there's a time to be a parent. Like I said before,
You,
the age doesn't fully develop. We're giving. Okay, just a quick question and a quick response. Do you think like a 13-year-old kid, a male, should have his dick chopped off in order to fully transition?
What? That doesn't happen. That is illegal.
I'm
I
asking.
think, yeah, bottom surgery doesn't happen.
I was asking the scenario. No. It was a scenario. No. It's not because it's in order to support the topic. It's because we're allowing, you know, later on transitions when we're stopping the body growing at such a young age with medicine.
It's pausing, not stopping. You keep saying it's like
no,
you don't get your
stopping
puberty.
If you have to continue with different medicine.
What you want to do, you want to harm lots of people to avoid harming a very few number of people slightly more.
No, I would have to
The
debate against
alternative is to not treat these children, and many of them kill themselves. Parents have lost children over it, and you want to say parent better?
Can
Come
you
on,
show
bro.
me the statistics over that of
You've
kids killing
made
themselves
multiple
over?
claims and have shown nothing. You first.
But that's why I'm asking. If
You're
I
here
can see the
talking about all the
statistics of
times you heard about
children-
bad things happen this one time from your friends, brothers,
I'll answer
cousins,
your
uncle.
question.
Just
I'll
provide
answer your
citations first.
The
I'll answer your
suicide rate stays the same even after transition.
What was that? I'm sorry, Peter.
I don't
The
think Peter
suicide rate stays the same after transition.
I think it actually went up.
So if you're, this is the problem as well. When people say transition,
Send in love,
there's
Peter.
specifics. You have to name which
muted?
one. But in addition, whenever people are talking about full transition, that you're right. There is a slight uptick whenever people
Naughty
have
boy.
completely
Oh, just
gotten
send
to a
in
point
love.
where they
You're
feel they are
amazing,
completely
Peter.
transitioned and
Red.
done. But that's actually like a misconception of looking at the statistic.
Sometimes that's a mark
Because
of honor.
whenever you're fully transitioned, you actually do it later in life, and you have a lot more time afterward. And like that's the whenever you're along the signs of transition is a shorter time than after your transition. And there's another statistic that whenever the suicide rate as in general is like 43% whenever you do you do not have support in living your life. And then a much better statistic that's much more dramatic is like it was 5% at one point in 2012, I believe. And then just recently they did another one and it went down to actually 3% whenever you do get the support that you do need and the support and care and you know the acceptance of your family and stuff like that. Like whenever you have people in your life that are good support networks, the statistic goes way down of how much LGBT people in general commit suicide. So it's more about that and time frames. Yeah, but you are right. There is a slight tick in, like, if you looked at them overall, there is a slight tick whenever you fully transition. But it's just because of the time management, not so much. You know, because usually you get done with all that in your 30s, 20s, something like that, and then you have the rest of your life. And it's like people, you know, whenever you're going through it, you include all that. But to answer your other question,
I can respect that. I can also respect that you said that because, like, you know, some people debate against that. But I wouldn't put it as the time age. I would put it as happiness. I believe that once people transition, it's not fully what they expect, and it causes more mental burden. Like I said, I'm not fully for you know, a lot of LGBTQ things, but I'm not against it. It's not gonna like affect my life. The way I see
it. That's why I turned him down.
Sorry. And I'm sorry to you all audience.
Like I was saying, I don't fully like have views against it. The way I see it is,
you can't just press mute.
I don't agree with it, but I disagree with it as long as I'm kind of like, you know, it's not. I don't want to say shoved down my throat. I kind of just go my own path, and that's the way I see it. And like I said, I do appreciate even admitting the statistics, but I had to disagree with the reasoning of it. I don't believe that like the mental burden does increase and the happiness is altered. You know, if you transition, you do the surgery, gender reassigning, I think it's called, and you realize that it's not what you want and you can't go back. It is impossible to go back. And so that is why
I want to hold on. I want to say just real quick response to that. Just hold on.
After you're done, I would like to say something.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to say there's actually a statistic on that too. There's actually 99.5% of people that actually don't regret the final surgery of their transition and stuff like that. And it's only a mere 5% that do, the 0.5% that do. It's a very, very small statistic in that statistic, and I mean you can find.
You're already playing the statistics.
Hold on, I'm not done. I'm not done.
Put my statistics in chat, so I'm not playing the statistic game. I said my proof.
I just wanted to finish as well, saying that I do think that there is a commonality in kind of in trans communities a lot of times, like to sorta agree with you a little bit. I think that a lot of people who are, you know, caring for their mental health and stuff like that. Ow.
Am I gonna have to get on the fucking computer? This is.
Ow, my brain.
What is this?
Very nice.
I don't know.
It's immaturity mixed with ignorance.
Is it capitalism? I'm just gonna mute it.
No, it's not capital.
I consider my mutes unlocked.
It's Uno, I think.
But
I think it's capitalism.
The last thing I was going to say is the commonality inside of LGBT.
Hold up, I don't know. I didn't hear anything you said. I don't know who it is, and I don't have them muted.
It's Magpie. It's Magpie and Uno.
Yeah, Magpie does this all the time. He blows.
He's been bouncing channels doing this all night.
He blows blackout. That's the only way he's on the server.
I feel bad for him. It's like this need for attention thing.
I know.
He's an attention slut.
He's probably like one of these kids that doesn't know what he needs. He might want to transition. Who knows?
Jesus Christ, dude. No filter. I love it.
I also wanted to say the other part of what I was going to finish is I actually agree with you. I think a lot of times that people think when they're transitioning, they have a lot of issues in life in general. and being trans is definitely one of the major issues in their life. But I think they might put all of the weight of the world and depression and anxiety, like they put all these like disorders or stuff they're dealing with in their life or their goals in life. I think they might put it all into, well, when I transition, it'll all be better. And the reality is, when you transition, it's solving that one issue, with that you are, solving for your body and, your gender and stuff like that. But it's not fixing everything else in your life. And you have to treat that as not a catch-all solution. It has to be like, you have to think of that in its regard to what it fixes and not just everything else in your life,
So in Canada, hang on, I do want to reply, please. I've been waiting patiently, and don't interrupt me because I don't talk a lot. So I think in Canada we have like a decent system around that.
Can't help it. He
there
said Jesus Christ the way Mr. Slave does.
Because we have more of a publicly available healthcare system. There are some trans surgeries that are covered for adults, and I think I would even be in favor of expanding coverage to other areas for trans adults who want to get surgery. But as a rule, I'm very uncomfortable with kids doing any sort of transition or puberty blocker. Kids are stupid, like as a whole, just 100% across the board. Kids are dumb.
I agree.
And they'll always be dumb until adults. And I don't think they can ever consent or understand the risks of even something as seemingly simple as postponing puberty. That's a no.
That's why you have
okay, when you say
right?
So are you against children getting cancer treatment?
Yeah, surgeons who can do that operation later in life if you need it. That's why I said expanding it to adults more.
They want to make it easy.
All of them? But like, do you think all of the surgeries and all of the things? Because there's some things that are not reversible, like
like expanding it to adults. I'm in favor of expanded coverage for. Like I think top and bottom surgery is covered in Canada, but I don't know about other things like FFS or those sorts of areas.
What if you want to become like a fox or something?
That's really dumb. I don't know why you said that. We weren't talking about
because
animals.
there's a guy that comes to the chat who wants to be a fox.
One person came to the chat who wants to be a fox. That means everybody gets to be a fox.
There was someone
that's really fucking dumb.
It's not dumb.
It is really stupid.
It's a dumb analogy.
It has nothing to do with what I just said.
You want?
No, you didn't have anything to say, so you're just like, huh, what if you wanted to be a fox?
I wouldn't call it.
I agree how stupid it sounds, but the point is where do you draw the line where people want stuff?
That's what I agree with. I wouldn't call kids stupid. I believe that instead of stupid, I think that they lack real life experience.
Stupid.
And that's what makes them ignorant. I think ignorant is a better use of words here.
Yeah, sure.
Like I said, I don't agree with children having any access. I'm supportive of a parent supporting a kid in like cross dressing, or even wearing makeup. But that's different from these hormone blockers, and that's just my view on it. And I don't know who I was originally talking to about the
Wait, what do you think the issue is with hormone blockers?
Pardon, what was that?
I said, what's the issue with hormone blockers?
It's just that it's hormone blockers. It stops the growth, especially of a child.
Norfolk, every gender and sexuality, like conversations I have,
all like the consensus right now. So like the only negative side effect that's commonly like. That's pointed to in the medical community is an issue with bone density, and there are pretty simple ways of dealing with that. But puberty blockers just delay the onset start of like puberty. As soon as they stop, puberty resumes.
Awesome people in here. See
that easy, eh?
Like puberty isn't like growing taller. Or...
It is in a sense.
It's a big part of puberty for men.
But I'm just saying, like, I feel like, okay, if I agreed with you guys, I would also feel like I agree with the idea that if there's a chance, maybe that the kid knows what they're talking about, don't you think you would save them a lot of grief by?
But how can a kid know what they're talking about at such a young age?
Here's the thing.
So much life experience.
Here's the thing. If they're wrong, if they're on blockers, completely reversible. If they're on hormones, like it's most of it's reversible. Like you can change your mind. If they do not get treatment, now all of the things they get in that puberty are permanent until you have to get all those surgeries of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Which is why a better balance would be to open up access to those surgeries more to adults.
I can agree with that because
hold on.
The way I see it is at the age of 18 is when you can do whatever, because I'm actually from Alabama.
But listen,
so 18
but here's an analogy that might help it clear. If
it's a
you
fantastic
block
sentence.
the
We
use
don't
of
often
puberty
hear
blockers
that. I'm
in
from
children,
Alabama,
that means any person who ever wants a transition when they're adult will have to have multiple expensive and painful surgeries. But puberty blockers allow the vast majority of kids who choose to get the transition done to not have to have all those problems. So what you want to do is you want to make everyone have a bunch of problems to avoid a reversible thing that's only done with multiple doctor input over multiple years for children that really need it.
You'll still have to get surgery if you're on hormone blockers. If you want to.
I agree.
That's the one thing is bottom surgery. That's the one thing is bottom surgery. You don't have to get any other.
So usually top surgery as well, but like I said before, a good balance is just expanding that access to adults. I don't know why we have to be involving children in this at all.
I agree. Have surgery when we can give kids pills that
they're going to have to have surgery anyway.
But they're not going to have surgery anyway. If you get, is
it going to make your dick fall off? Is there a pill that makes your dick fall off?
It'll make you never grow breasts. It'll make your face never become manly.
And
it makes transitioning easier.
I'm sure it makes it easier, but it's a big decision, and kids aren't smart enough to understand the consequences.
Puberty blockers aren't a big decision, especially if there are multiple like medical doctors that have had their input on it. It's not
you may not feel it's a big decision, but for children going through school, with their peers, it is a big decision.
Boys with gynecomastia who don't want breasts for years without nary a peep. But now that the right wing wants to make trans people the next other group, we have to worry about these kids now. We're talking about this.
Oh, I'm not on the right wing.
Suicide rate goes up
to do with that
because of this.
Maybe it does in the end, but not to me.
Yeah, the right wing. You're using the right wing as a bad remark.
Dysmorphia. I mean, they're mainly prescribed for, or they've primarily been prescribed throughout their historical use for early onset puberty. Where do we draw the line on what conditions that are applicable in that situation?
Didn't scare the other people in this chat when those same drugs were used for those illnesses, but all of a sudden, because transition is involved, it's something we need to be worried about.
Well, I think the difference is harmless. I think the difference is that for like gynecomastia, that's like a physical measurable condition that most people kind of understand. Hold on, it is different. In body dysmorphia
How
is
is
a
it
lot
different?
harder.
They're both recognized as illnesses. The doctors are the ones making the decision.
Because
us the right to interfere with the doctors and
unless you're saying that that almost every person that has body dysmorphia is getting brain scans to show that they do in fact have something akin to body dysmorphia, because you can have a brain scan to diagnose body dysmorphia.
I don't think you can.
You can.
Those are also it's 50-50. They can, but it's 50-50. Like I said, they can be considered reliable. My whole family is medical. 22 years plus and everything. My grandmother's actually 70. I'm setting into it right now. Those scans are somewhat reliable. It's such a hit or miss.
This is an argument this is a fallacy. This is an argument from authority. Or is your family or anyone in your family, are they psychiatrists?
But this is medical. You're saying
are they psychiatrists? No. Are they psychiatrists? Yes, it does. Because if they're a dermatologist, they can't read if they are a dermatologist.
So, to my knowledge, there's no scan you can do to confirm that somebody has body dysmorphia.
So it's one of many things that can be done. That's part of the diagnosis.
I don't know it's reliable at all.
So why are you arguing?
It would be no less reliable than any other psychiatric test.
You're saying that you can do a brain scan, and the other person said it's 50%. So that means that both of you are in agreement, and then you argue against it. It doesn't make sense.
I'm not saying I'm agreeing. I'm just putting my standpoint. I'm saying that's unreliable. You can't just now. I'm against the children having it, but that's off topic. I'm just saying that it's unreliable. It's a hit or miss. You
I'm
can't.
saying that if you can figure out 50% and there is a brain scan, that means at least 50% of the people.
Are you guys
could
the rest
be
of like using the
No, that means it's 50% accurate, I think is what they were going for.
Yeah, that's what I'm
you
saying.
can't say we have this this shitty test that's 50% wrong and it's better than everything else we might have, so let's use this unreliable
That's
measure.
not what was said. So no one said that.
You said what is a better test? If it's 50% accurate,
I said
that's
it's
a shit source.
I said it's one of many tests that can be done.
Well, if it's not accurate, it doesn't need to be
it's a tool
involved
in
at
the
all.
tool belt. Well, then you're going to throw out almost all psychiatry then, because most psychiatric tests aren't more than 50% reliable.
Most first of all, yes, they are. And secondly, most psychiatric tests don't involve putting somebody into like an MRI and seeing if they have depression. That's not like, there's measures for this. There's PHQs, there's GADs, there's like a whole bunch of different assessments that are built over like a period of time of knowing a patient. You don't stick somebody in a scan and say, yep, one depression.
Shots.
Oh, this area of the brain has anxiety. That's not how it works.
When did I ever say that it's the sole
That was
use?
what you were insinuating.
No, it wasn't. How many times do I have to say it? It's one of many tools in the tool belt.
I'm saying if it's not an accurate tool, throw it out.
Hold on here, Duchess. Do you agree that I've said 3 separate times?
I agree.
It
You
is a
said
singular
that.
tool in a tool
I
belt.
agree that you've said
So
that.
you
I
agree
heard
then
you.
it was not the case.
I agree. I
that
heard you repeat the
insinuated.
same thing. However,
So it was
I'm
not
saying if
insinuated
it's a
that it's
broken,
the sole
shut
use.
up. If it's a broken
No, you're
tool,
lying.
throw it out. If it's a broken tool, throw it out. You don't need to use it.
And then then
if it's unreliable.
He's been respectful. He's been respectful. He let us speak. Let him speak at least. Let him finish the statement, and then we can debate it
Here,
afterwards.
then you would agree. You would agree then that we should stop using antidepressants, right?
No, antidepressants are pretty effective.
We just had it.
No,
we just had a
no,
study that just came out of the UK
Antidepressants can cause worse
showing that antidepressants it's a crock.
I mean,
Like most of the almost every single study is flawed inherently.
We're actually in overtime.
I
think the majority of the medical community wouldn't disagree, but
No, the entire medical community is getting behind the study.
They should be shutting down like production of antidepressants soon. Then I would hope if that's the case, that medical professionals support that.
So Kappa.
So we should see that soon, right?
Kappa, would you agree that it's only since the studies showing that there's more female to male to female transitioning that the conservative right started playing this over and over and over again on their right-wing media sources?
What?
Well, there's a study that came out in the mid-2000s or mid-2010s. If you would have paid attention, once it showed that there was a 14% increase of female to male transitioning, that's when the right wing really started playing this shit over and over again. It's almost like the conservatives are worried about losing more baby makers.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Can you post the whoever the top of the channel is? Your name is just, I guess, Amber. Can you post any like study showing that brain scans in this case are only 50% accurate?
Of course, I'll gladly try looking for one. Like it's a reliable source.
So it's post hoc.
No.
The reasoning after the fact.
What I'm saying is I can try to find a reliable source. I mean, it's said, but I'm not going to post a source from John F. that said this. I'm going to find a reliable source, like Harvard, for example. Harvard.
Why would you make the claim if you didn't have the information? You haven't read it.
Dumbass. I'm saying I'm going to find the reliable source. I'm not going to use an unreliable source and post it.
The only thing I'm
Now,
seeing is
let's
for
let
body
him finish.
dysmorphia and not gender dysphoria.
Here comes Will. See, look at
Those
all
are
those great
two
people.
different
How can I end the stream?
I don't remember how we got on this topic.
I can't remember.
Equivocation.
I will
Mhm.
say that I love all like a good majority of the people here, but in like 5 minutes, I think I'm gonna sneak out.
All right. Bye, Amy.
Good seeing you, Amy.
Oh, can I send you? Are you still streaming?
Yes. Well, I feel bad just to leave like the moment that Will comes because Will's amazing, and so I'm gonna stay on here for 5 minutes to like showcase that. But then at the end of this, as this topic comes to the end, I'm gonna be sneaking out.
Can I send you something in DMs?
Sure.
Okay, will it come up on the stream or no?
Would you like it to come up on the stream?
No.
Okay, well
That's
then no.
Okay, perfect. I'll send you that.
Okay.
So what are the numbers? Has anybody posted them? Like how many
posted
people?
a study proving that they're wrong from a reliable source.
Like how many people?
Where'd you post it?
Does this affect?
You know.
How many people transition?
I can't see the chat for some reason.
No, you have to go to the bottom of the Discord.
Oh.
Yes,
Post it and put it in panhandlers in the bottom of the Discord. They're all the
Yes.
channels.
The voice is separated from the text chat, so there's the panhandler's voice and the panhandler's text chat.
So when I open the study, it's going to say that the brain scans used to help diagnose things like BPD have a 50% reliability issue, right?
Where is it at? The chat? I see. I'm under.
This really
voice
is the
text.
last 10 minutes, and then I'll do like my outro.
Halfway down.
With just with you guys and gals out there, and then
Got it,
we'll
thank
go- Well, the after party will be opening up.
So hugs.
I just
How many people are in this group?
I'm
go ahead,
showing.
sorry.
I found the study I was looking for. Looks like 2014.
It matters also what kind of reliability they're talking about, because if it's false positives or false negatives, it makes a difference. If there's a rare condition that like only a few % of the population has, and 50% of the time it gives a false negative, but it discovers this rare condition, like even 50% of the time would be still massively useful compared to not being able to find it at all.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
But it's not useful if you're applying it after to people, because the reliability of that being accurate, of your diagnosis being accurate, if that's even a tool of what you're using, you don't use inaccurate tools that way.
So Duchess, if you have COVID and you go take a COVID test, right? It's a 50% chance that you get like a negative or a positive whenever you have. But it rarely
Peter,
gives
you
you
can talk
a
again.
false positive.
Hey, Samurai guy, did you read?
I think the COVID tests are...
If it comes up, just real quick, if it comes up and it says that you're positive on COVID, that's like super uber rare that you don't have it and it came up as if it comes up as positive, you probably have it.
Yeah.
It only is a 50-50 chance that it tells you you don't have it. So you might test negative even though you do have it.
Hey, Amber guy, did you actually read?
Yeah, I read it.
No,
and that's what the point I was making.
Okay,
is that
great.
They're not
logic.
Jesus Christ.
So you didn't read it?
I did read it. I just said I did read it.
Then why would you post it? Because it disproves your point.
No, it doesn't. It's saying that it's not fully legit. It doesn't fully work all the time.
That's
Jesus
not what
Christ.
it says. So if you were to read it, hold on. What it's pointing to is the sample size of these studies. It's not saying that the methods, the results, the abstract, none of those have a reliability issue. What it's saying is, hold on.
Yeah.
What it's saying specifically is the sample size of participants in the studies tends to be small. The median is 25. That's the only thing they're pointing to. Your whole article cites the only thing they're pointing to in terms of reliability is the sample size. Even at the bottom, the same guy talking about credibility says, if you were to pull the data sets together as a larger study, instead of it being separate studies, it would be reliable more often than not. It's exactly what it says.
Likely be reliable.
And
it's still
yet,
unreliable.
it doesn't say the reliability is only pointing to the sample size.
Reliable.
It's not pointing to the
Chris,
look.
maybe
It's
I
not
will
pointing to the
look at your
look.
videos. Maybe we'll
You don't need to talk every single time I start a sentence.
He wasn't
what?
talking
You'll
to
work-
me. It sounded like he was talking to me, but
I'm
I
just turning down. Like if you can't control yourself, you're just gonna get turned down.
But
And you can be muted. It's vice versa. I'm trying
Your
to
article
prove a
does
point.
not prove what you said. You didn't
It
read
does.
it. You skimmed it. Thought it said what you thought it said. It doesn't say when it's again. Last thing I'll say, when it talks about reality, the only thing it's citing is median sample size. It's not talking about methodology. It's not talking about results, conclusions, references, anything about the study itself other than sample size. So you didn't read it. You're wrong. Please find us.
It's okay. I know your ego's too high to accept that they're wrong. that brain scans aren't reliable.
Hey,
Gamer, can you tell me exactly where you got the 50% figure from this article, so I'm just looking for it.
Not from that article. I will say that's not reliable. It was not from that article.
Angels, I posted it in Panhandlers. 2014 is when you see a large increase of female to male transitioning, and not all of them coming out and getting actually seeking out transitioning, but shows them getting the diagnoses, and that would correlate approximately when the news media really started ramping up their anti-trans messaging. I think
here's the question I have. Maybe this is a derail, but how many people have to be affected before you put a big initiative behind something? Is one person enough? 0.1%.
By the way, that study was debunked. I posted a link.
Okay.
Wait, which study?
The social contagion theory of transition.
Social contagion.
All right. Well, I am tired. You guys have a lovely night. I'm gonna get some
See you,
shower.
Cammy.
Night, Cammy. It was lovely talking
See you, Cammy.
with you, and I hope to do the same again.
Oh, you guys look sweet. Y'all have a wonderful night. Take care.
Right.
We're doing
I'm
the
just
same,
saying,
folks.
Hugs.
4 minutes.
If it's a very small amount of
Not
people,
Amy
even though
Newman
people
minutes.
matter,
Real minutes.
should it be a huge political issue?
Of course not, because you're talking about mental health and it's a medical thing. The only reason they're making it a big deal is because they're losing their baby makers. That's literally what I think it is.
But are they losing their baby makers?
Sure they are, because females are transitioning to male, right?
How many?
No, but it's actually mostly male to female, not the other way.
I know,
around.
but even those are few. How many? There's all kinds of people that jump off cliffs too. There's many ways to get out of the gene pool. Why are we making this such a big issue politically?
I'll keep harking back
medically.
to adults should be able to make whatever medical decisions they want. And in Canada, we have a really good, well, it has its problems, but a more accessible healthcare system. Completely fine with broadening access to that system for trans people to cover certain surgeries that they might need. Not in favor of giving kids puberty blockers or certainly no type of hormone.
Are
there any other issues, any other conditions in which you think a doctor's options are not correct, like cancer or any other risky surgeries children can have?
Nope. Probably this would be one of the only ones because you're dealing with a child making an irreversible medical decision that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, but
they're not mature enough. Hang on, I'm almost done. And they're not mature enough to make that decision.
So do you think we should end all plastic surgery as well?
I'll read it out.
Exactly.
This is for kids, though.
We're not talking about plastic surgery. We're talking about.
Oh yeah, but no, because plastic surgery on children has been done for decades.
I don't know that's common. I don't know of any I don't know what kind of kids you're familiar with, but I don't know of any
Jenner had
kid.
plastic surgery when she was 16.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not in favor of that.
No, hold on, Duchess. Would you?
checking,
what amount of evidence would you? Is there any type of evidence you would accept that would change your mind on allowing, someone over the age of 13 and under the age of 18 to have access to puberty blockers? Is there any amount of evidence that you would change your mind?
There might be, but
If not,
I
you're
will.
motivated.
Were you gonna let me? Were you just gonna answer my question for you, or
I was still
did you want me to
talking.
Oh,
No, but
you ended a question, so I wasn't sure what you were doing by cutting.
We don't need your PMS. No.
Oh.
What did Angels just say?
Was it a joke?
He said we don't need your PMS.
What the fuck, Angels?
That's not a punchline.
Wow, sexist.
That's a good one.
Whatever cunt muted me, you can go fuck yourself. I wasn't even being like remotely disrespectful.
You're just like Seth. Oh, who muted me? For the next 20 minutes.
This is what the angel does. This is what he
Angels,
does.
that's not what it is. I mean, it's Kappa being slightly no offense, Kappa, but you didn't wait. Neither I did ask a question in the middle of her talking to you, but we do have to recognize their bad behavior. I'm sorry for that.
Sure. Anyway, capitalism, to answer your point, there might be evidence that could sway me, but from my perspective, and I'll agree this is opinionated, I don't think kids are mature enough to understand the outcomes of that gravity of a decision.
I agree. That's why I'm against like surgeries, and I'm on the fence with hormones because how can you reasonably articulate it's all good. Informed consent to a child? That's nearly impossible to do.
But
I agree with
to
that.
answer
I
that,
think
that quandary though, the hormones are the alternative to surgery as a child. They're almost non-invasive, they're reversible, and they provide such a much easier transition for the 96% of kids who follow through with their transition. And in order to avoid that tiny risk of those tiny 4% kids that might regret, that a very rare number of those have a side effect that the puberty blockers, which have been being used for decades on precocious puberty and are well known and safe. In order to prevent that, we're making every single person who transitions have surgeries that are unnecessary because
They already
we're
have to
worried
have
about
surgeries,
a very tiny number
and
of
yes,
kids who might have made a
But-
mistake.
They already have
Hold on.
surgeries, and yes.
But this is a
Well,
slippery
actually,
slope.
capitalism, before you do, I actually just want to say I love you all. I have to head out. It was a lovely conversation, and I will keep on coming back. I want to say Amar, Will, Stewart, Fatty, Angels Freeman,
Same person.
Darth, Dog, Duchess, Effie, Hugs.
This is just derailed.
Capitalism, hold on. Kudos, Matasaro, Nikita, Peter Sucker, Voldemort, Zen, and Sleepy. I love you all, and good night, good day.
Amy,
Good evening.
Oh, please! This is completely derailing.
Right back over to
oh
you,
my gosh!
capitalism. Right back over to you.
Okay,
I'm out as well. Good show.
Wait,
Amy.
Cap,
This isn't an airport. This is not an airport.
Yeah, but
Cap,
I'm
do you
streaming
think that,
live,
that
so I just
minors?
wanted to record.
Oh my gosh!
Kappa,
We're still
just let her
going.
finish. Just let
You
her
were
finish.
complaining about it, and so I was just handing it back
Okay,
over to you.
Amy, wrap it up, Queen. Come on.
I had wrapped it up. Now he was starting.
Okay,
We're still
that's fine.
going.
Well,
Fuck's sake.
stop complaining about it. Okay, I'm just leaving. Goodbye. They're just gonna keep on complaining. Okay, that was fun. I was just listening. I was just trying to figure out a way, and then when I tried to give them love, they started complaining. Sending love. Duchess was amazing, and Peter and Matasaro, and Cammy. Ix was in there. So many lovely people. Will Stewart. Yeah. I really do want to thank you all for joining us on another Impromptu Debate You. We're going to, I guess, just say good night and head out. Thank you, Will. I mean, I always feel like I just, that was my point, was just a goodbye. And so I was not trying to filibuster, trying to just send more love. And I felt I didn't want to cut into the conversation. I wanted to make sure that everyone's, voices are being heard. And especially when there's so many lovely, ended up with so many lovely people in there. Woohoo! Well, I was glad to have you on with us. Glad to have Peter on there. Yeah, sending love to you all. We're about to be, and no, the funny thing is that generally speaking, if they're talking about my sex and gender, the topic has already been derailed from what it originally was. However, I kind of assume it anyway, and just it's good conversation. This is the current talking points. What should I say this? Comedians will often say that if you don't get things out in the air and you don't talk about them, that kind of becomes our way to introduce people to society and make it normalize it and all that. That's why you talk about atheism and LGBTQ and all these sorts of different points. And yeah, Krish, I would love to. I will ask, are you talking about doing a review video? I will say, if it's a theistic video, we'll try and be nice, though we sometimes don't always have a great track record on not roasting theistic videos. But you're a mensch and a nice person, so we'll probably have a good time. Duchess, thank you. I see you in chat. You were amazing. It was lovely having you on there. It felt like we had a lot of backup from the skeptic community on there. Who knows? Maybe we'll slowly turn the tide, because I've seen more skeptics and humanists and all sorts of different people on there. We're about to release not only our next clip, I think tomorrow, but then like after I release that clip, I want to make I already made our first short and showed it to James W. And he was like, so look forward to that. Basically, Will inspired me, and I was like, reach out to more people by making little short videos, you say. Okay. And so look forward to all that more fun content. I'm going to just give out a few links, and then we're going to head out to this very specific server. If you're looking for more conversations on Discord, you can always head out to the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server, the link of which is in chat and on screen. If you enjoy the show, please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube. It gains you access to that bell icon, which when sits all will send you reminders to see our premieres, like all of that content we've been just talking about. I think I'm going to do a creative and comical upcoming that's kind of like this, but like I'm 3D modeling whatever you guys say, and then inviting creationists if they want to join and talk, and then there's talking with the chat. So talking with the chat, arguing with creationists, and 3D modeling. And I've even been, once again, all of the content on this channel is always going to be a skeptic and ranting type of theme. Can I ask if any of you out there have any interest in me arguing counter apologetics while playing Minecraft? Because I'm tempted to make a skeptic and ranting Minecraft server where everyone can join, and then I would just be playing and also doing counter apologetics. Every show we do basically has counter apologetics in it, but also just we want to reach out to the Twitch community a little bit, and I know that they like gaming. And I like gaming. Mark Reid plays Minecraft. Mark, I was just found another person who just told me that they scam bait as a hobby, basically. And I was like, you do you? I was like, I'm kind of putting together a team. And so, so if you play in the Minecraft server while I'm live, you can be part of that as well, and you can be on the live stream. Okay, and it's going to be called like Skeptic Crafting, something like that. Skeptic and ranting Minecraft. That's not lava. How do you know it's not lava? How can you tell lava from non-lava? What if you're not what if we're just all lava in a vat? Yes, exactly. And so look forward to that. I just got another person. Oh, if you are, so we have many fantastic people that support us out there. You can become a channel member or a Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. And we have a show just for our Patreon's channel members and Twitch subscribers, which is we will help produce a show for you on any topic once per month. And so if that is if you have any expertise, knowledge, or information you want to share with the community, well, that is for you. And also, if you are looking to just start your own channel, your own podcast, if you're looking to grow, monetize, or launch, then head over there. I just got my third person I'm producing, which I'm all excited to put out. And so, go over to Fiverr, and I will help you produce. If you are into basket weaving, I will help you create the basket weaving podcast. And with that, y'all play I know, Krish, you thinking about it? Maybe we're going to get a Skeptic and Ranting Minecraft server. I'm going to look into it. Well, that's what I was talking about is because I'm like, start to talk to me about logistics of a multi-person scam baiting operation. And so we're probably going to have a few buckets. But I mean, I was just seeing, I have like phones or phone numbers already lined up. Like I have just starting to collect, you know, I have here, you can see it says, contact Windows support, and then it has a number here. And so I'm just going to collect things like this, and you go out. Sometimes you do cold calls. Sometimes you find numbers, not to random strangers, but there are actually ways that you can find scam call centers and different things. Well, I'll tell you, I'm willing to, so I will help. I'll help you launch it to Freak. Depending on how many you want to do, it's multiple. Every package is multiple consultations to get the podcast running. It's not like a one and done. And I will work behind the scenes. I also want to teach people, at least in all of the others, I teach people StreamYard, OBS if you're into that, or Stream Deck, all sorts of the ins and outs. And I also give the whole, you know, film and visual effects. We go pre-production, production, and post-production. And so I could, if you need me permanently, I could probably figure out something. However, you know, we could work something out. However, I could definitely get it up and running, get it looking professional, and train you at least to where on StreamYard it's just button clicking. And then really the hard part is once you become focused, this is the free knowledge here, is about your subject or your category, your niche. It's really just about creating high quality content, just staying interesting, which I'm going further and further away from the topic here, which is impromptu debate you, as we see. But we're wrapping up. This is a lovely bow, as I have really enjoyed. I see Christian DeFreak and Pragmatic Crystal and Doorknob Heb and Nathius and Mark Reid and Michael Smith and Caterpillar and Doorknob Head and Gonna Go For It, Will Stewart, Touches of Clutches. I want to keep on sending love. You guys and gals, Winston's mom, Darth Banshin are the lifeblood of the channel, in which case the final notes that I'm going to lay is that I hope that you all enjoyed this episode 1, season 1, episode 3 of Impromptu to Debate You. The topics have at this point come and will probably be listed in the edited description if you're last watching afterwards, where we went to the politics and religion Discord server for some counter-apologetic fun along with any other subject that came up. Theology, science, how long is the girl deck? And I want to, of course, thank my co-host, James W., along with the entire panel tonight on the politics and religion server. Please do not forget to continue following, and subscribing, to share with that person that you're in a debate with, hitting that bell icon, and, of course, joining the Discord server, our own, the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server, the community right below, which you can join, as well as thank you to all of the supporters out there. Really, all of the super chats, a bunch came in, and they are really as well the lifeblood and the heart of the channel and all of these episodes. They enable us to get all of these fun props, as well as do all sorts of more fun shows. And you can do so in multiple ways. The super chats, the channel membership with our evolving badge system right down below. I'm also ordering more emojis because they're just fun. And I feel like if I get more, I want to see them out there. And just I should make like a kalam and like just all sorts of ones that they're really abstract if you're not in the community, but we probably hear them so much that we were like, no, it's the contingency argument. It's original. Yes. So look forward to that. Thank you all the channel members as well as all. You can join at Twitch on subscribers Flare coming soon on there, as well as our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, y'all. Mwah! See you at the Skeptic Ranting Discord. Oh yeah, that's right. There's no music. Boppa joppa doop boop boop. I forgot to add this. Oh my goddess. It's been a little while since I did episode 2. Boo-doo-boo-doo-boo. These are definitely amazing people. Boo-doo-boo. Boo-doo-boo-boo-boo. Shoopa-doopa-woopa-woo-boo. Boo-ba-dee-boo. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're skeptic, we're ranting, and we're also on Impromptu. Debate you. Debate me, debate you. I'm not live, you're live. Doo-doo-doo-ba-doo-boo. Can't go too much of a jingle somewhere in a specific direction or you get copyrighted. Boo-doo-boo. All right. Sending love as well as speed of sound and disciple. Good night.